football team and brings a great offensive mind. He will run the offense. This is the John Gruden offense being installed to the Oakland Raiders.
And what everybody says, great organizer, and that, of course, a very important thing. Chan Gailey, very similar type of guy.
Well, Chan Gailey is also a first-year coach in the National Football League. He was the offensive coordinator a year ago for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He also brings a great offensive mind.
Cunningham kicks to Howard, fields at the 8-yard line, runs laterally, had a little step, and was tripped up from behind, short of the 20 at the 18-yard line.
One of the emphasis this year for the Oakland Raiders is to really hone up the punt return and the kickoff return. They got to make this work better this year.
Raiders will start with what you would expect as their starting lineup. Jeff George will be the quarterback. Napoleon Kaufman will be at a running back spot. John Ritchie, the rookie from Stanford, gets the start. Desmond Howard is on the field at a wide receiver spot.
And Barry, they want to start running the football right off the bat. They want to run 3 plays and get a first down.
3 wideouts and only a single setback. Napoleon Kaufman. He makes the catch out of the backfield and is wrapped up, a loss of about a yard.
And that's not exactly what John Gruden told me before the game, but
just goes to show you.
I know
right?
it.
You know, Jim, you can't believe those coaches.
I know that. I was around long enough.
But you know, what they wanted to do there, though, Jim, was to get the ball to Napoleon Kaufman's hands.
Take a look at how the Raiders line up, and you saw the running back John Ritchie was not in on the first snap. He is in the ball game now, however, on second down, and we'll call it 12. Truitt comes in motion. They give to Napoleon Kaufman, who gets it back across the 20 to the 21-yard line, a gain of about 3.
You know, and John Ritchie's in the backfield for one reason only, and that's to block for Napoleon Callum.
Let's take a look at the defensive alignment for the Dallas Cowboys. Pittman, Lett, Hennings, and Ellis, their #1 draft choice, the rookie from North Carolina, getting a start. These are the linebackers, Godfrey Strickland and an undersized Dexter Coakley, but boy, has he got quicks. And the secondary, Deion Sanders, who made the play on that first down. Some question as to how far he was going to go today. George to pass with time, throws over the middle, flag down. Ball is caught that time by Mickens at about the 40-yard line, but let's see.
You know, Barry, great protection that time by the offensive line of the Raiders. The defensive front of the Cowboys do an excellent job of rushing the passer. Give the credit that time to the offensive line of the Oakland Raiders.
Holding penalty against the Cowboys, Punk. That helps.
Oh, it certainly does. And you got to remember that this Dallas defense was #1 against the pass last year. So a very good defensive secondary.
For just a moment about Terry Mickens is a guy that didn't get a lot of ink. Raiders signed him, but they're thinking here's an important cog.
And right now, I think he's leading for that third receiver spot on that Raider offense. They like what they see. They think he's very tough, catches the ball inside very well.
So a first down, they mark it at the 39-yard line. Kaufman, the single setback. They bring Ritchie in motion off the wing, give to Kaufman over the middle. Had a little step and gained about 5 to the 44.
Little counter-type play. Napoleon Kaufman is dangerous in all football fields, but I think he's just a wonderful artificial surface type runner. That's what he had at the University of Washington when he played there. And John Gruden's going to try to get the ball in his hands as much as possible this year.
Single setback, 2 tight ends this time. They bring Dudley split to the near side, and they slot Truitt inside of it. Play fake, and George will go up. Has time, throws, intended for Truitt, and I think he got it. He got it at the 11-yard line. Big-time play by Orlando Truitt.
Wonderful concentration that time because the defender was all over him. What an outstanding play, and Truitt wasn't going to start tonight. But Tim Brown is not playing tonight. Orlando Truitt gets his opportunity.
Yeah, good concentration on the ball. The ball was slightly underthrown by George, yet he was able to concentrate on it.
You know, you're going to see the ball thrown well here, like you said, Jim, but Truitt, just like a great receiver does, goes up, sees the ball, fights for it, and never takes his eyes off the football. That's just great concentration.
So first down inside the 15-yard line to give that time was to Kaufman, and Kaufman is stopped by Leon Lett as he approached the 10. It'll be a gain of about 2.
One of the things that Coach Gruden wants to do, going from the 20 in, from the 1-yard line out, is run the football, be able to maintain control and possession of the football by running it and not have to be forced to throw it.
You know, you look at last year, Plunk, the Raiders were 23rd in the National Football League in rushing offense.
So Jett and Truitt, the wideouts now, split backs, Ritchie and Kaufman. They've been Kaufman in motion out of the backfield on second down, and flags all over the place. And I think Graham jumped.
Yes, he did.
You know, Derek Graham's a new addition to this Raider offensive line. It takes a while to get used to playing.
Number 74 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
So that'll back the Raiders to the 16-yard line. Raiders showing a lot of different looks here.
Well, part of John Gruden's offense is multiplicity in formation. He wants to get up to the line of scrimmage. He wants to move the tight end. He wants to shift the backs and run a lot of people in motion. Great diversity.
Howard near side, Jet far side. Now they flop Dudley. Back split behind George, Ritchie, and Kaufman. And George will go up, straight back to pass. All day to throw it. Looks end zone. Too tall, intended for Truitt. Kevin Smith, fine job defensively for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and once again, the protection was very good for Jeff George. He's able to stand back there and try to find an open receiver.
And really not a bad pass when you stop to consider. The only guy who was going to catch that ball was Truitt. He threw it up high.
Yeah, and a little late, I think, and he wasn't able to get to the ball or get to the receiver on time.
Time they bring Dudley to the near side. Howard slots inside of Jet to the far side. Kaufman alone setback on 3rd down and 13. And a draw play for Kaufman, trying to slip outside. Gets the 10, but is stopped as he got to the 10-yard line by Omar Stoudemire, getting to start at free safety for Darren Woodson today.
You know, Napoleon's a tough man to bring down. He's got powerful legs, and he has a low center of gravity, Barry, that makes him a difficult guy to tackle.
You know, and this is a draw in a situation. We got 3rd and long. You're inside the 20-yard line. You're really not trying to get a touchdown here, probably. You're just trying to get a little bit better position for a field goal.
Here's another guy who's playing the Super Bowl, Cole Ford. He can't afford too many mistakes here, being pushed for the kicking job by Greg Davis. He'll try a 23-yard.
You know, this guy was maligned last year. He was last in the National Football League in field goal percentage. They brought in 2 other kickers, a guy by the name of Phil Dawson and Greg Davis, to compete with him. But unfortunately for kickers, Barry, you're always remembered by the kicks you miss as opposed to the kicks that you make. And I think that's what's happened a little bit with Cole Ford.
Well, that's a miss that will stay with Cole Ford, and kicker's kind of an enigmatic group as it is, and you got a few misses under your belt, and you start thinking about it.
Well, you know, it's tough too when you have 3 guys competing for one spot. You only get a couple opportunities, and you have to take advantage of that opportunity when you get it.
So he'll take that one to bed with him tonight. Now the Cowboys will have the ball for the first time, and they'll start at the 20-yard line. 23-yard miss. Big play for the Raiders, of course, the grab by Truitt. And Truitt's another guy who's on the bubble.
He's on the bubble, but you know, he's a guy that's played in the Raider organization. He's had 2 preseasons the previous 2 years. I think he's got a great shot at making this football team. But you know, what becomes the determining factor is how well he can do on special teams. He's got to be a contributor in the special teams area.
Troy Aikman gets the start plunk at quarterback, and he's a guy who will have a different offensive system, and it's one that I think he's going to like.
Well, I think so. He got in a lot of trouble last year. They didn't score very many points offensively, especially compared to the last couple of years. Emmitt Smith did not have a particularly great year, and they got in a lot of trouble, a lot of low-scoring games for a usually very high-scoring Dallas Cowboy offense. You
know, Plunk, they were 20th last year in total offense in the National Football League, and they were an NFL low inside the red zone. They only converted touchdowns 35% of the time. I think it's healthy when a new coach...
Yardage situations, and very often on 3rd down. So now the Cowboys with their first opportunity. Emmitt Smith will be the running back behind Troy Aikman, and Moose, Darrell Johnson, the fullback. First offensive snap, and Aikman straight back under pressure, and down he goes. Russell Maryland, the guy that you spoke of, Artie.
Well, you know, one of the things that Willie Shaw, the defensive coordinator, wants to do, he wants to have bigger success on 1st down.
Maryland just blew in. As we look at the Cowboys lineup, Larry Allen playing tackle. He moved to the tackle spot from guard at the end of last year. Nate Newton, it is a slimmer, trimmer Nate Newton. Clay Shiver, who got a lot of flack last year, to tell you the truth, at the center position. Everett McIver, who we had heard was not play tonight, but is out there, I suppose. Emmitt Smith with Johnson, David LaFleur, the tight end, Michael Irvin, and Ernie Mills, who the Cowboys expect a lot of at the wide receiver position. Mills slots to the near side, now comes in motion. Aikman straight back, throws over the middle, almost intercepted as Newman got a hand on it and knocked it to the turf. Let's take a look at how the Raiders line up defensively. Andre Bruce getting a start with Russell Maryland. Darrell Russell moving inside this year, and Lance Johnstone on the outside. That's the down line for Oakland. Folston, Beekert, and Morton, the linebackers. And the secondary, the Raiders really expect to improve. James Trapp, but he's got Woodson, of course, Charles Woodson breathing down his back. Anthony Newman over to play the strong safety spot. Vast improvement in the Raiders secondary. Chris Warren is now the running back, and here go the Cowboys out of the shotgun for the first time. Flag is down. Aikman has a lot of time, in trouble now, and he unloads the ball. Safety valve just trying to get the ball to somebody, and Darrell Russell was the man who was putting a big push.
And Barry, a new look for the Raider defense. 3-man rush, 8 deep, making him, the quarterback, hold the ball a long time to give those 3 rushers, a chance to get to him, and they did.
Excuse me, Barry. It looks like it's going to be against the Cowboys, which obviously will decline. And Punk, I think that's a good idea by Willie Shaw to run the 30 defense with the 8 defenders, because what it does, it makes the quarterback make a decision, and if he throws the ball underneath, you can rally to it.
Right, and that's the whole idea of the 3-man rush. Right. Make him double off.
Toby Gowen will do the punting. He'll be punting to Howard, who should give the Raiders pretty good field position. Howard standing at the 41-yard line. Gowen will punt out of his own end zone. Short twisting kick. Fair catch called by Howard in Dallas territory at the 47-yard line. So the Raiders, with an excellent defensive set, will be in business when they start their second possession. 9 minutes and 41 seconds to be played in the first quarter of a scoreless game. We're coming back. Oakland Raiders, we had an opportunity to catch up with him and talked about his impressions of the new coach.
So he knows this offense, like the back of his hand. And when he says something, he not only just talks about the quarterback position, but he knows every lineman, every tight end, every receiver, every running back, what they're supposed to do. And you really don't see that a lot throughout the league. A lot of head coaches are just they walk around practice, checking each individual out, but not knowing a lot about the position. And he knows everything. His knowledge of the game, for being so young, is unbelievable.
Kaufman making something of nothing on first down, picked up almost 4 yards. We'll call it second down and 7. Single setback, 3 wideouts for the Raiders. Cowboys in the nickel defense. They'll show blitz off the corner, don't come with it. This is Kaufman again, chased down from behind by Pitt.
You got to be able to run, Barry and Jim, from that single back set with 3 wide receivers in the game. It cannot just be a predictable passing offensive set. You're going to see some runs tonight from the 3 wide receiver offense to Napoleon Kaufman.
Plus, with that 3 wide receiver, you get to spread out that defense and hopefully break a hole for Napoleon to run up into.
Third down and 5 for the Raiders now. Slot left this time with Jett in the slot. Kaufman again, the lone setback. Still nickel defense shown by the Cowboys. George will put it up, has time. Now he runs out of time. Sidesteps, buys a little more time. Comebacker caught by Howard. First down Raiders at the 31-yard line. Good job by Desmond Howard. Keep the feet down.
He kept his feet in bounds, but he also did a great job of coming back to Jeff George. And that's something you don't see much out of Jeff George, his ability to get on the corner, scramble around a little bit, and show mobility. John Gruden worked very hard this training camp with Jeff George and trying to get him to move around and move the pocket a little bit more, and that was a great example of it.
Here's another new look for the Raiders. 2 tight ends, 2 wideouts, single setback is Tim Hall in the ballgame for the first time. On first down at the 31-yard line, they give to Hall right side, and Hall gets across the 30 to the 29-yard line. Hall, incidentally, we didn't expect to see very much of, but he got well quick, suffering from the hip pointer.
Well, we didn't expect to see him, but I guess he felt well enough in pregame warm-ups to go out there and play some, and that's exactly what he's doing right now.
Derek Brown in the ballgame at a tight end spot, along with Ricky Dudley now for the Raiders.
Derek Brown gives you an extra blocker. He's 6'6", 270.
A gain of a long 2 for Hall on first down. Ritchie back in the ballgame now, lines up in the backfield, split with Hall. Fake this time. George rolls right, looks wide open. Ritchie can't hang on. George put it in his hands, and John Ritchie will not drop a lot of it.
No, very unusual. In fact, the other night at the scrimmage in El Paso, he made 3 really great catches early in the scrimmage. So he's a with excellent hands for a fullback. He's a big guy. He's really going to be an added plus to this offensive firepower of the Raiders this year, not only for his pass catching, but his blocking.
3rd down and 8 now for the Raiders as Mickens slots inside of Truitt. 6 defensive backs in the ball game now. That is the dime package for the Dallas Cowboys. Split backs, Ritchie and Hall behind George. Straight back, blitz comes, and down goes George back at the 41-yard line. That was Randall Godfrey, who blew in untouched.
Boys are not a real blitzing team, but they like to do it once in a while, Barry, on 3rd down as a changeup. And you know, Jim talked about this in the pregame show. Jeff George got sacked 58 times last year. John Gruden doesn't want to see him go down many times.
But it had to be a missed assignment, but he can run that free to the quarterback.
Leo Araguz will come on to do the punting, try to put the Cowboys deep in their own territory. Kevin Mathis is the deep man. Araguz hits this one pretty well. It's going to land at about the 5-yard line, but it takes a big hop. And it is an excellent play in the end zone that time by Sean Sims. Big time play by a guy trying to make this ball club.
Big time kick also by Araguz. In fact, last year he had 28 punts inside the 20.
We're coming back.
That's Dallas, yeah.
For the Cowboys, and where's 84, who made this play?
Well,
But point of fact, was it a good play?
No, I think Folsom, number 55, is standing in the end zone. And, you know, Shedman did a great job. But Folsom's the guy that was standing on the end line there in the end zone.
So they bring it out to the 20-yard line, and that's where the Cowboys will begin. This is Emmitt Smith for the first time, and Smith showing some quicks, especially you were in El Paso. Everybody tells me that he looked the old Emmitt Smith.
Well, he's in shape this year. I think he lost a few pounds. He's really worked out hard this offseason. He had a horrible year last year, probably not all because of him, but he only scored 4 touchdowns, Barry, rushing, whereas 2 years ago he scored 25. So he's rejuvenated.
And that, of course, affected the entire Dallas team last year. This time Urban comes to the near side. And in motion this time is Billy Davis. Aikman gives to Smith, running left and running out of room. And is knocked out of bounds. Well defended that time by the Raiders. Greg Biekert ran him out of about 2.
And they strung that play out real well. And, you know, although the Raiders have only played 5 downs on defense, I mean, I think already you can get a feel that they're going to be a better defensive football team.
Yeah, and I think, Jim, they're bringing more pictures to the plate, more pressure on the quarterback, not only physically, but mentally in the way they're going to end up moving around as the year progresses.
Cowboys will go out of the shotgun. Chris Warren will be the setback alongside Aikman. Slot right this time. On 3rd down, 8. That's Bjornsson in motion. Flag down. Aikman throws, and it is caught by, but no, incomplete. They say Davis did not get it. And now we'll see about the flag.
And also, Barry, Artie, you know, although it was a 3-man line once again, this time they blitzed off it, brought people. So they're changing things up almost every down, giving them different looks, doing different things with it.
You know, that's the thing that has struck me this whole game on both sides of the ball, not only for the Raiders, but for the Cowboys, too. Normally, you really expect pretty much of a vanilla ball game, to be honest with you. In a preseason, it hasn't been like that at all.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dr. Willie Shaw.
Therefore, only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. The penalty is refused. 4th down.
You know, I talked to Willie Shaw. Normally, you know, teams start very vanilla, don't show you too much. He says, you know, we don't care. We have to practice our timing. We have to get ready for the season. And I don't care if they do see what we have. They still have to prepare for it.
These two teams, of course, will see each other during the regular season. And normally, you wouldn't show very much, but a point well taken. Goen will do the punting again. And Howard will be the deep man again. Short kick once more, and Howard runs up. Fair catch. Just about the 45-yard line. So the Raiders with excellent field position will start for the 3rd time at their own 45-yard line. 5 minutes and 46 seconds remaining to be played first quarter. Raiders and Cowboys scoreless. Is it Gowen or Goen? Is it Gowen or Goen? Well, the Raiders will come back home, and that's always good news for the likes of Napoleon Kaufman, who loves playing amongst the friendly fans in Oakland.
I go for the home run, and I try to make things happen, and that's just my style. I don't go out and say I'm going to get a -yard run on this play. You know what I mean? I take the ball downhill, but sometimes you don't get any yards, and that's just the way the game is. But as far as my style, I feel like every time I touch the ball, I want to take it to the house, and I've been like that ever since I was 7 years old, and that's just what I am.
Well, that time Jeff George tried to take it to the house here at Texas Stadium, going for all of it, and a fine defensive play by Charlie Williams.
You know, Barry, I like the play call there. Why not on first down try to get a quick score? Because the defense usually plays for run on 1st and 10.
So it'll be 2nd and 10. Kaufman alone set back, 3 wide receivers, slotted left this time is Howard. And now we're going to get a timeout as George sees something he doesn't like or doesn't understand, and he said, I'm going to talk this over with John Gruden. And we'll jump off the track as well with 5:41 remaining first quarter. No score. Raiders looking at a 2nd and 10 when we come back. No, we're seeing the play. We're just not hearing it. We're seeing it. The guy's just talking over it. Cowboys have played a scoreless team, but have nonetheless played an entertaining game, and a game that is really beyond what you would expect, I think, for a first game.
You know, and it's interesting because I thought the Cowboys, Jim, should have an advantage because they've already played a preseason game.
Right.
But looking at this, looks like the Raiders are playing a lot crisper tonight.
3 wideouts for the Raiders on 2nd and 10. Mickens, Truitt, and Howard. Ritchie and Hall are the setbacks behind George, and somebody jumped.
It was Pat Harlow, I believe.
I believe it was.
And you know, Barry, the Raiders have already ran 14 offensive plays, so they could keep Jeff George and some of the other starters in there a little bit longer. Maybe they feel pretty good, or they want to get a little bit more work out of them.
5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
I always thought that was hard as a coach during the preseason when I was at the Rams, when to take guys out. You want to get them in game shape. You want to let them play to get their timing down, but you also don't want to get them hurt.
Right.
Howard goes to the far side this time. And to the near side is Mickens. Truitt slots to the left, split backs. 2nd and 15. George straight back with time, throws over the middle, threw behind Truitt that time. That was a tough chance for Orlando.
Yeah, and Stottmeyer made a great play coming over as Truitt was turning around. He just lowered the boom on him. I think you got to give the credit on that one to the defensive from the Cowboys, Omar Stottmeyer.
You know, it's just a regular in by Truitt. Should have been there. Unfortunately, the pass was thrown behind him, as was mentioned. But once again, the protection was great. Jeff George had 58 sacks last year. And you got to, lower that mark.
Only a quarterback would say should have been there. George straight back on 3rd down, a whole bunch with time, throwing deep, got a man open, fine catch that time by Truitt. Truitt has made 2 big-time catches in the game.
Well, he's really the go-to guy tonight. I guess him and Jeff George have got a deal going here, Barry, but Jeff is really throwing the football to Truitt tonight. And here's an example, again, of the protection that you were talking about, Plunk. That's a great job that time by the right side of the offensive line of the Raiders.
You know, I've always felt against this Dallas defense, running inside routes, you had a lot more success than if you're trying to throw outside on them.
Charlie Williams all turned around defensively that time. This time Truitt comes in motion to the near side on 1st down. A little bit of a delay, and it is Hall, who gets a couple to about the 33-yard line. Might have gotten 3. Dexter Coakley on the stop. Coakley playing linebacker in the NFL at 215 pounds. I can't imagine a smaller linebacker.
Yeah, there probably isn't, but you know, you have a weak side, strong side, system. So he always goes the open side away from the tight end, where he's a free linebacker and he doesn't have that big tight end pounding on him.
Pickens comes to the near side, Truitt to the far side. Hall remains the setback, and Ritchie the fullback. George looks to Hall, back over the middle, caught by Truitt. Incomplete pass. They say he did not hang on.
Those last 3 passes by George were all behind Truitt, though. He made one great catch. Unfortunately, the other 2 were dropped.
You know, that time it looked like Jeff wanted to dump the ball off to Timmy Hall, but Timmy was covered, so he looked back down the field to his secondary receiver, who was Orlando Truitt that time.
And I think that helped him, because when he looked outside, the linebacker and the coverage kind of shifted out that way, allowing Orlando Truitt to be open in the middle.
So it'll be 3rd and 7 now. Truitt comes in motion to the far side.
I think it's a blitz, Barry.
Yeah, I think so.
They come with everybody. They pick it up pretty well. George wide open this time as Mickens. Touchdown Raiders. I think you're right.
Well, you know, you could tell they were coming, not just because they were creeping up, but their stances told you it was going to be a blitz, which is what Jeff George did that time. He audibled out of the play and audibled to obviously a touchdown. But that was an assignment error, Plunk, in the secondary by the Cowboys.
Right, somebody had to be on Mickens. They weren't. The motion, I think, the audible, caught him off guard. They did a great job in picking up the blitz. And that's something else the Raiders have to improve on, and they did.
Phil Dawson tried the extra point. He's the 3rd kicker in a 2-person race.
Well, not necessarily.
That's true. Well, that's true. And here's an opportunity for him. Snap, plays, kick, nails it. He'll take it. Thank you very much. So Dawson gets his name in the scorecard, and the Raiders offensive play, and a great read, incidentally, by George.
Here's the play by George. It's an excellent job of audibling, and he throws the ball up in the air so it can be caught. You know, a lot of times when quarterbacks are under pressure like that, they either underthrow or overthrow. But that's a happy guy right there, Jeff George.
What do you mean?
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you never did that, I know.
Underthrow or overthrow.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Well, yeah, you got to blame it on somebody. But that's a happy guy right there, Jeff George, because he not only mentally but physically helped make that touchdown go.
And be happy. I'm quite sure that'll be his last play of the evening. He'd take that one home with him.
Oh, he's a happy camper right now. He's out of the game. You know, he's a guy with a lot of experience, although he needs to learn this system and learn it, fully well before the season starts. Everybody wants to, protect their quarterback, because he's going to be the guy that's going to have to take them through the season.
But the trick is to learn it under fire, and sometimes in practice, as coaches, you try to create those circumstances, but you can't. You know, you were talking about his season last year. He had a great 29-9 touchdown to interception ratio and yards per completion, 13.4 yards. So he had a good year last year.
He did. And one of the reasons I think he had so few interceptions is because he throws the ball in such a line that if the Raider receiver doesn't catch it, nobody can get there quick enough to make the interception.
Kevin Mathis and Jimmy Oliver, the 2 men for the Cowboys to receive this kick. And that is Oliver. And Oliver bumped at the 12-yard line, gets off a man to the 15 to the 20, trying to step outside and finally run laterally out of bounds at about the 22-yard line. Kenny Shedd, again, the man who made the play. It's really interesting. Every preseason we mention the name Kenny Shedd and Orlando Truitt, maybe more than any other Raiders.
Right, and Shedd, though, is an outstanding special teams guy. He's a tough guy with acceleration and speed who seems to be all over the place. But the guy who really made that play was John Henry Mills. He's the guy that went down, broke up the blockers.
So the Cowboys will start just short of their own 24-yard line.
And they're without a first down, I believe.
Emmitt Smith will be the tailback in the I formation behind Johnson. Straight back to pass, Aikman throw comebacker, and the catch is made that time by Michael Irvin.
Yeah, and the Cowboys are very good at throwing those little quick outs, quicks. They're hard to stop. They have big receivers. It's tough for the defender to get through them to get to the ball. And unless you've got a great break on the ball, you're not going to see those.
Yeah, plus the guy throwing it throws it on a line. He throws that baby, I think, on a rope. He's got one of the strongest arms in the league.
Still not a first down. 2nd down and 4. LaFleur, the tight end, and Bjornsson now as they line Bjornsson up in the slot. Give this to Smith. Nothing doing. Got across the 30 to the 31, but the Cowboys will be looking at a 3rd and 3.
We're seeing a lot of stunning right now by the defensive line of the Oakland Raiders. One of the things they want to be able to do is blitz, but also stunt the defensive line. Lance Johnson on that time came underneath and made a good play. Mike Waffle, the defensive line coach, does an excellent job of teaching stunts to his defensive linemen.
And I think by doing those stunts, they're going to help disguise maybe some of the weakness of the Raider defensive unit.
Oliver goes to the far side, Billy Davis to the near side. Just a double slot here, and they go out of the shotgun with Chris Warren, the setback. Four-man rush, throw over the middle, knocked down beautifully that time. Excellent defensive play by Charles Woodson, showing his credentials.
Welcome to the National Football League. That's his first big play, and it was a heck of a play.
You know, and once again, three-man rush. And I talked to Charles Woodson on the bus going to the airport yesterday, and he said he just wanted to get in, get his chances, get his opportunity to make an impact on this ball club. And, you know, right there, he got his first opportunity, and he came through with flying colors.
Excellent play as Michael Irvin was just waiting to make the catch, and Woodson knocked it away. So once again, the Cowboys come up empty, still looking for the first down. And again, they will have to punt it. Goen will do the punting once more. Hits it pretty good. Really turned this one over. It's going to drive Howard all the way back to the 14-yard line. Now let's see if Howard has some room. He gets the 20 to the 25 and out of bounds about the 26-yard line.
Good coverage that time by the Cowboys. And Barry, when the ball's up in the air that long, it's really tough on the return team because what it does, it allows the cover team to get down the field.
Herman Smith was the guy who made the stop defensively for Dallas.
There's a good look at Darrell Russell. He's playing well. And as I said in the pregame show, Barry, I think it's a good move to move him from defensive end to defensive tackle.
So Donald Hollis will take over the quarterback role here for the Raiders as George's work is done for the day. And he gives this time on first down to Tim Hall. And Hall gets a cut.
And they made some changes in the offensive line. Mo Collins is in there now. Adam True is in there.
Adam True back up center, playing for Barrett Robbins. Mo Collins, of course, #1 draft choice, second #1 draft choice for the Raiders out of Florida, getting work. Derek Brown is the tight end, Ritchie the fullback, and Hall the tailback. Mickens and Truitt remain the wide receivers. First pass for Hollis upcoming. He steps up, he has time, he throws. It is caught by Mickens, steps out at the 48-yard line. Mickens wanted a lot more and probably could have had a lot more.
Well, he was going out of bounds. I don't know if he could have turned up the field, but I think, you know, once again, protection, #1. And Donald Hollis showed a lot of, I don't know, almost experience in that, and stepping up there, holding on the ball until he could find someone. So a great effort on Donald Hollis's part.
Here's the numbers on Jeff George. Impressive for his less than 1/4 of work. 6 of 11, 111 yards, and of course the touchdown pass to Mickens. Just short of midfield. First down for the Raiders. Eric Pegram is now the running back. He gets the call on first down and gets a step inside the 45. Fumble the ball. Cowboys have it. So not an auspicious start to Eric Pegram's career as an Oakland Raider. Hambrick made the recovery. And Kenny Wheaton was the guy who made the hit.
But it was, you know, it was a good run by Eric Pegram. He made the outside cut, did a real good job. Unfortunately, just wasn't able to hang on the ball, but it was a 7 or 8 yard gain before he got tackled.
You know what, though? The ball, he didn't drop it. The ball got loose from his hands. That helmet was right on the football. And, you know, a guy like Pegram, Barry, hasn't played much in the last 2 years. You know, he was with the Steelers for their Super Bowl team, but he hasn't played and been in a lot of contact drills over the last 2 years.
Well, they are going to say, I think, that fumble occurred after the play was whistled dead, so the Raiders are going to be able to keep the football here. So
can we take that all back?
Yeah, yeah, or better yet, can you take it into the regular season? They got a real break with a second down and about 3. And Pegram with a second chance. This time he stopped short of the first down. Robert Thomas now in at the middle linebacker spot for Fred Strickland makes the stop for the Cowboys.
And the Cowboys came on a blitz. They were a run-stopping blitz, and they crunched up that middle pretty good.
Tim Hall back to the Raider lineup now, and Pegram will come out. Pegram not happy about it.
You know, the Raiders tonight are 4 out of 6 on third down conversions, which is just outstanding.
And that's something they have to improve on immensely in order to be successful.
Third down, a long 2. And Hollis will go up on third down. Throws in and out of the hands that time of Kenny Shedd, and Hollis threw a bullet.
Yeah, it looks like he threw it a little bit too hard, and I think when he looks at the video tomorrow, he'll tell himself he should have probably run for the 2 yards because he had an open area there that he could have gotten the first down, in my opinion.
And the Raiders have showed a lot of different, not only formations, but they're also moving the quarterback out of the pocket on occasion to give him a little more time to throw. And I think that's going to be a good thing in the long run. Those defensive linemen can't zero in about on a 10-yard focal point in the backfield.
Leo Araguz will try to set the Cowboys back once again. Kevin Mathis, the deep man for Dallas. End over end kick that is going to hit at the 6-yard line. Take a backwards hop. And it's going to come all the way back to the 20. Looked good for a moment, but it came back on it.
Barry, that's what you call a bad bounce. You know, the ball is down there and it starts coming back for 15 yards. That is clearly, in football terminology, a bad bounce.
I remember, though, Jim, and you play with this guy, Ray Guy used to talk about he could put a different spin on a ball, and the things that he could do with a football, truly remarkable. That ball was end over end all the way. I'm not sure, is that the kind of kick you want to kick in that situation?
Well, you want a ball that comes back a little bit if you're going to kick it all the way down to the 5-yard line, make it bounce back a little bit, and unfortunately it bounced back way too much.
So the Cowboys start at the 21-yard line. They go out of the I formation. And the give is to Emmett Smith, trying to get outside. Now he cuts it back, and he doesn't get much. Mike Morton right there to stop him, just about at the line of scrimmage.
That was an example of blitzing on first down that the Raiders have been doing all training camp. They want to make big plays on 1st and 10 to put the offense in a negative position, Barry, on 2nd down. They blitzed the corner that time and really disrupted the play.
And with that, the end of the first quarter of the 1998 season, and it was an excellent quarter on both sides of the ball for the Oakland Raiders. Defense not allowing a first down. The offense putting 7 points on the board. Jeff George, 111 yards. Pretty darn good. Start the second quarter, and the Cowboys started without us. They threw a pass over the middle intended for David LaFleur that was slapped away by James Folston of the Raiders.
Folston's another guy in this defensive unit that's had a great camp. He's a big athletic guy that can really run around.
So it'll be 3rd down, and we'll call it 10. It's a little bit less than 10, but not a whole lot. Davis goes to the far side. 4 wide receivers in the ballgame now for the Cowboys. A trips left set. They go out of the shotgun. The Raiders come with a late blitz, and Aikman is wrapped up, and there's another sack for Oakland. Greg Biekert is the beneficiary. Credit the whole team with that one.
Once again, different looks. A little bit, they came with a 5-man rush, put the pressure on Aikman, something they sorely lacked in the last few years, especially last year.
Desmond Howard went off to the locker room during that last commercial break at the quarter break, and so Rodney Williams will be the deep man. Had a chance to see him play a lot in college, and he can scoot too. Going out of his end zone. Short kick. Williams will try it at the 45. Stutter steps one man, cracked out at about the 46-yard line. Nate Hemsley was the man who made the stop, as Williams really had no chance. So the Raiders again with excellent field position. They've had that all along. They'll have it when we come back. This guy can play. Rodney Williams can play.
He's a good player.
Did you say this guy? Pluck, you've been around this Raider football team for a long time. Do you see any difference here?
Oh, I certainly do. On the sidelines, they've got some smiles on their faces, which they haven't had in a long time. They're squirting water on each other. I know the game's far from over. It's only a preseason game. But look, they're enjoying themselves. They're having a good time. And that's some of the things that John Gruden brings to this football team.
And playing very efficiently here in the first half. We'll give you the changes, and there are many for the Raiders after this play. Hollis at quarterback. Play fake. Also put it up, looking for it all, and he's got Kenny Shedd, who can't hang on. And now we're going to get a flag, and I think that's going to go against Charlie Williams. And it's going to give the Raiders great field position. I thought it was a pretty good play by Williams, to tell you the truth.
Well, you know, Barry, there might be 2 flags because it looks like Hollis also got rocked after he threw the pass.
Yeah, I don't think it was pass. Oh, it was pass interference as well, but it went both ways, and both for the Raiders.
Well, everything has gone the way of the Raiders. Well, now the Cowboys clapping their hands. So the interference call, I think, is going to go against Kenny Shedd. I thought it was a defensive play by Charlie Williams. But they're going to offset.
But it certainly seems that if it was roughing the passer, that should overshadow that other penalty.
Well, there's a happy guy right there in John Gruden, and he has got to be very pleased with the way his offense and defense are executing tonight.
Number 89. Pass interference on the defense. These penalties offset. Replay, first down.
Well, we were close. The penalty was on Charlie Williams, but there was a hold somewhere on the offensive line of the Raiders. And so we'll do it all over again.
It's a free.
That's right.
Start from number 1.
Collins, DiNapoli, True, Whitaker, and Ashmore, the offensive line, and a fumble. And again, that's the kind of thing you're going to see, and the Cowboys have it, I believe. They do. Just a bad exchange from Adam True to Donald Hollis.
But that really shouldn't happen a whole lot, Barry, only because, it's a second unit working together all during training camp. Donald Hollis usually goes with Adam True most of the time, and, those kinds of mistakes shouldn't happen out here.
Well, it's tough. It's the field position. Turnovers are turnovers, but if they're in great field position like this is for the Cowboys, that puts a lot of pressure on the Raider defense.
.14:08 remaining here in the first half, and here are some new starters for the Oakland Raiders.
Well, Pat Swilling's returning from retirement, but Lance Johnson, Darrell Russell, we talked about, moved his position. Folsom, Trapp, Woodson, maybe Allen, and Newman bring a fresh defense.
Backup unit on the field now for both teams. I try to keep you up to date. Jason Garrett is now the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, and he's done very well in the preseason the last couple of years. They bring Davis in motion, and the give this time is to Emmitt Smith, who does remain in the ballgame, and he gets it down to the 42-yard line. Cowboys still, or was Warren, I beg your pardon. Not Emmitt Smith, but Chris Warren.
Jason Garrett's an interesting guy. First of all, he's the only quarterback in the NFL from Princeton. But he is
the Stanford of the West.
Yeah, that's the Stanford of the East. Yeah, there you go.
Wherever.
But, he had his day in the sun, Barry, in 1994, the Green Bay Packers against the Cowboys. He came in and won the football game for the Cowboys.
He's done everything that the Cowboys have asked him. I can tell you another thing he is that nobody else is. He's the only player, to my knowledge, in the NFL with coaching experience. He took a year off and coached at Princeton. Here's a give to Warren again, and Warren inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Defensively for the Raiders now, James Harris is on Vince Amy, Chuck Osborne, and Pat Swilling along the defensive. Spot the linebackers for you in a moment. They, I believe, are still going with the first unit linebackers. Significantly, Charles Woodson is in at the corner position. Perry Carter will play the other corner. And we'll try to keep you up to date as best we can. Louis Riddick is the free safety right now. Garrett at quarterback, Warren the setback. Garrett rolls right, throws underneath. Davis makes the catch, and there's the first down of the ball game for the Cowboys.
A lot of these preseason games, Barry, are taken over by, the backup teams, the second and third units. A lot of inequity sometimes when they change personnel. And here's a real simple pass, a rollout to the right, just enough. The route just deep enough to get the first down. Very difficult to stop, but he almost came up with a big play.
It was a good throw that time by Garrett. Pretty good for a guy that used to coach.
That's right. Could you do that?
No.
First down, the ball at the 35-yard line of the Raiders. Straight back to pass. This time is Garrett. Throws little Davis. Well-executed play. Timing pattern and a very good one.
Yeah, very difficult to stop those 10-yard outs. And one of the things that happens is that, they were very successful Thursday night in El Paso doing this all night long to the Raiders, running these outs and virtually unstoppable the other night. And they've got to find a way to come up and stop it, either double zone, roll up both sides, or play a little bit tighter man-to-man.
I always felt, though, Plunk, that they could throw the outs all day as long as they're not giving the inside away and giving the home run up.
Oliver goes to the to the near side. Woodson is the Tailback in the I formation. Davis now comes in motion. Garrett throws, caught, and a real shot taken that time. James Oliver with a tough catch. And Louis Riddick just leveled him.
Well, that reminds me, Barry, of some old guys who used to play here for the Oakland Raiders by the name of Atkinson and Tatum. Riddick just unloaded that time. And I'll tell you, if you're a receiver and this happens to you, you don't want to go across the middle very much. That is really an excellent job to light Willie Shaw, the defensive coordinator, by Louis Riddick.
But give him credit, he held on to that ball.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, excellent catch by Oliver. And Oliver's down on the sideline as he clearly got his bell rung. Split backs this time on first down. Ball just short of the 10-yard line. Cowboys can make a first down without scoring a touchdown. There's something of a screen. The ball popped loose for a minute, and it was one of the linemen that wound up with it and got it back to the line of scrimmage. It was Oliver Ross.
Well, that's the biggest pass receiver all night tonight. But obviously there was some confusion, and the back who was supposed to be in the screen did not get out. So Oliver Ross has his day in the sun. I don't think he's going to catch another pass, though, this year. It'll be a long time before we see that one again.
I think you're probably right.
But you know what? That was a good job by the defensive front again by the Raiders.
Second down and 10, maybe second and 11, actually. Inside handoff to Johnson this time, and Johnson got a yard to the 10, and that's all. Aaron Wallace trying to do some business. The linebacker spot for the Raiders makes the stop. Into the ball game now for Oakland. Vince Amy, a rookie trying to find a spot on his team. Andre Bruce comes out. Amy's another guy I had a chance to see quite a lot in college at Arizona State, and he's a guy who, at the very least, is a gamer. Now, I don't know if he has all the talent to play in the NFL, but if the size of your ticker matters, he's got that.
You know, he's a local guy from James Logan High School up in Northern California, and he's a product of a great and high school football program.
Out of the shotgun on third down. And Garrett will call a timeout, and we'll take a timeout as well with 9:56 remaining first half, and the Raiders on top by 7. The ball right at the Raiders' 10-yard line. Jeff Ogden in the ball game now. He was one of the heroes of the first preseason game that the Cowboys lost to the Seattle Seahawks last week. Caught 4 passes for 60 yards. To the far side. Garrett, the quarterback, out of the shotgun. And a fumble, and Garrett can only fall onto the 15-yard line, and the Cowboys will have to try for 3 here.
Well, it was a blitz again, that time out of the 30 defense, a 3-man rush. And Garrett, quite frankly, was looking at the blitz come, and he dropped the ball.
Yeah, he's probably taking his eyes off the ball, which he shouldn't have, watching defense see what they're going to do.
Going to get another chance, though, because the penalty against the Raiders.
Was that new rule, though, when the defense lifts up their hand and make the offensive jump?
Yeah, it's the Neil Smith rule. The defense cannot cause the offense to flinch by some type of hand movement. You know, being an old defensive guy, Punk, I really think that's a poor rule. I really do.
I think it's totally unfair. It should be called every time.
Yeah, you would.
And the official call is delay of game, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there weren't many rule changes this year, but you're going to see the flinch there.
Right.
That's exactly what the call is. But again, I disagree with that ruling.
Oh, I think it's unfair. Totally.
So it'll be third down and 5. Garrett short drop, looks end zone, and it is incomplete. Intended for Stepford Williams. Just a little isolation, and Perry Carter did just enough. Garrett actually threw the ball pretty well, but Williams unable to hold on. Would have been a tough chance.
You know, Carter's another guy that's having an excellent camp. He's all over him this time, and this is a tough play for a defensive back. You don't know where the ball is because you're on the receiver, looking at the receiver. It's good coverage.
Richie Cunningham will try the field goal. Be a 22-yard effort out of the hold of Bjornsson. Richie Cunningham did a great job last year for the Cowboys, and he drills this one. And the Cowboys are on the board. So with 9:49 remaining in the first half, it's the Raiders 7, the Cowboys 3. Happened to Desmond Howard. Let's take a look, Artie.
As he catches a punt, and as he's running up the field, he gets tackled, and he lands on his shoulder and his neck. And that's tough when it comes down. You know what makes it even tougher, Barry, is when you're on this artificial surface. You know, Desmond Howard came to the Raiders a year ago. He had set an NFL record with the Green Bay Packers for the most punt return yardage in a year. Did not have a great year last year. However, he's doing a sensational job in training camp.
Opens up the door for Rodney Williams, who's the deep man for the Raiders. Takes it to the 3-yard line. Gets the 10 to 15 to 20. Trying to side, has a step at the 25, out of bounds about the 28-yard line. We do not expect Desmond Howard to be back, incidentally.
And, you know, talk about special teams, which that was a pretty fine return, but Frank Gans Jr. is handling the special teams for the Oakland Raiders now, and his father was a lifelong, you know, special teams coach. And Artie, you would probably know more about Frank Sr. than I would, but Frank, you know, is just following his father's footsteps.
Right. The dad is now the special teams coach at the St. Louis Rams.
Darren Hembrick is guilty of a late hit out of bounds. And, that's the man who...
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit out of bounds, number 54 on the kicking team.
Made a play earlier in the game.
First down.
But now gives one back. Darren Hembrick's an interesting guy. We're going to take a look at this, but he played a lot in that scrimmage in El Paso, and then the next day they run sprints at the end of the practice session, and Hembrick went over to his coach and said, look, I played a lot yesterday. I'd really rather not have to run sprints. What do you think of that, Artie?
Well, I don't like those things. You know, you do what the coach says, and that was not a very smart play that time by Hembrick. Maybe he should have ran the sprints.
Especially for guys trying to make this team, and a marginal guy. Jermaine Williams in the ballgame for the Raiders. Hollis throws, caught by Williams out of the backfield, and Williams knocked out of bounds the 45-yard line and gain of 4.
And you're going to see a lot of those kinds of routes with this new offense that Gruden has brought in. Little short outs, crossing routes, very shallow underneath the coverage. Anything to maintain possession of the football, keep the ball moving, and keep it away from the other team's offense.
And throw the ball, excuse me, Barry, and throw the ball to the fullback a lot more. And a guy like Williams and a guy like Ritchie can catch at that fullback position.
Williams, a guy who never had a chance at Houston. He was a blocking back for Antoine Smith. Didn't carry the ball very much at all. He was only a part-time player, as a matter of fact. They start Rosensteel in motion. Hollis straight back to pass. Throw and a catch made by Mickens, rather. And Mickens really assuring himself a spot. He's had a big night thus far.
Yeah, and they're very high on him. You know, they do expect him right now at least to be the third wide receiver. He's done, had a good game tonight, good timing route that time. A good route by him. He cuts it off square, he comes back for the ball, and the ball's thrown. Almost impossible to stop no matter what kind of coverage you have.
Came over as a free agent from the Green Bay Packers and making a little noise in Oakland.
And still, the protection is still very good.
Mickens comes in motion to the near side this time. Hollis gives this time to Hall, and whistles blow before the play. Going to get a procedure call against the Raiders.
You know, no, that's another thing that although
False
penalty...
start on the offense, number 17. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Rodney Williams, a little bit anxious.
Yeah, and penalties weren't a problem a year ago as they had been in the past, but still that's something that Coach Gruden probably won't stand for.
And you know, they did a good job during training camp of having officials at practice and constantly emphasizing the penalty part of the game.
First and 15 now as the Raiders right at midfield. And Mickens again coming in motion to the near side. Hollis short drop, throws a slant, and was he held? He thinks so, but the answer is no, according to the guys in the striped shirt, so an incomplete pass. Charlie Williams with tight coverage.
Yeah, I think he read it very well, that slant pattern. He was very slim chance of making that work.
You know, the thing I've liked about Mickens so far in camp, he's going to make the tough catch. I think he's their most physical wide receiver, which is what you need at that third wide receiver, that slot position. A big, tough guy.
5'10" and 200 pounds. Good size, actually. Not so much height-wise, but weight-wise for a wide receiver. Mickens in motion this time to the far side. Straight back to pass. Hollis throws a screen for Hall, and Hall could get by the first man. That play was going to go, were it not for Nate Hemsley.
And it almost squeaked by as it was, but it was read pretty well, but it almost turned into a big play for Tim Hall, but unfortunately got his hand on him, knocked him down, Hemsley did, and you know, just a couple of yards.
So it'll be third down 11. Take another look.
And here it is. Actually, I thought the lineman let the offensive lineman let the defensive lineman in a little too quickly, and it almost develops here. If he could have just waited for that block coming out there, it could have been a big play.
Straight back to pass. Hollis this time with time. Now he steps up, runs out of time. 5:40, down he goes, short of the first down. Raiders will have to give it up.
Three-man rush that time by the Cowboys, playing zone. They wanted Hollis to hold the football or dump it off. The strategy of the Cowboys defense that time paid off.
So the Raiders will have to give it up. They will punt the football. Arguez will try to pin the Cowboys back. come close on a couple of occasions. Kevin Mathis will be the deep man. They come after this one, and it's hit pretty good straight up. Fair catch called for and made at the 15-yard line, and then dropped. And the Raiders are going to say they got the ball, and do they? The officials say yes, it's going to be Raider ball at the 7 or 8 yard line. And it was Kenny Shedd who made the recovery. He's just one of those guys who's everywhere on special teams.
Every preseason he shows up either receiving the ball or on special teams, and there once again he makes a big play.
You know, last year, Plunk, he had 12 special teams solo tackles. He's a guy that's around the football. But that's why you kick the ball high and around the 10-yard line instead of corner kick, is because the return guy has the opportunity to field it, and with that he also has the chance, Barry, to maybe drop it. And that's what happened there.
They'll bring it back to the 15-yard line, which is where Shedd actually took the ball from Mathis. And a fumble again off the snap, and I think Hollis might have fallen on this one.
Yeah, now the game's getting a little sloppy. You know, 2 fumbles right in a row, 2 consecutive plays. You know, and that's what coaches to have this game, you know, develop into a mistake-prone type of game. They want to eliminate those as much as possible.
Jeremy Brigham in the ball game now at a tight end spot. Comes out of a tight end factory, University of Washington.
Yes, he does.
Hall is the setback. Williams the fullback. Play fake. Hollis will throw, and he throws behind Williams, the intended receiver. Hollis under siege that time, and Benson was right after him, and there's a flag down at the 2-yard line, and the way the Cowboys are posturing, I suspect it might be against them.
And that new rule, Artie, that we talked about this morning, possibly, even though it's not, the interference isn't on the intended receiver, sometimes if there's interference away from the ball.
Number 25, defense. First down.
That the referees will call it.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. That rule has changed, Artie.
The rule has changed, and what it is that the defensive back away from the pass no longer is right to rough up a receiver. Honestly, the officials are going to call that as pass interference more this year than they have in the past. And the reason is, Barry and Jim, is that they just felt it was an unfair advantage for the defense in terms of getting a free shot at a receiver down the field.
Not going to be crowd pleasing. I feel pretty sure about that. Single setback this time, 2 tight ends. Raiders at the 3-yard line. Mickens in motion. Hollis the quarterback. Give to Hall, and Hall will be short at about the 1-yard line.
Paso the other night, Barry, they had a 10-play goal line scrimmage, and the Cowboys, quite frankly, dominated it. The Cowboys scored 3 times out of 5 plays, and the Raiders only scored once out of 5 plays. So, you know, I know John Gruden wants this offense to do a better job this year in goal line and short yardage situations.
At 41,000 people, incidentally, at that scrimmage in the Sun Bowl. Unbelievable.
Let's talk about ticket prices in a minute.
Yeah,
up there.
Well, they did go as high as $110. This time they give to Hall again, who stopped short.
You know, they tried to go over the top, but the entire defensive line, especially Nate Helmsley, was there to make the stop.
You know, here's where the offensive line, no matter what team it is, has got to really hunker down, so to speak, and blow the defensive line into the end zone. That does not happen here. The Cowboys stun underneath and made the play in the backfield. Now, this call is an interesting one. I would bootleg here or run some kind of bootleg pass.
Do that. 3rd down at about 1.5 yards. They don't. They give to Hall again, and he's not going to get there. Stopped at the 1-yard line.
You see, Barry, what happens when you go wide like that, it allows the defensive team to penetrate into the backfield, and you have a chance to lose yardage, which is exactly what happened there.
Yeah, that's a long way to go to the goal line. You want to go straight, you know, north and south more than you want to go east and west. And, you know, a lot of people would question that call. But, you know, that's not going to make the offensive line coach very happy. They were stopped on 3 straight runs down there from about the 2.5-yard line.
It was Hemsley again, and Greg Davis will come on to try a chip shot field goal. They missed a 23-yarder earlier. Cole Ford missed it. This will be a 20-yarder. Davis's first try. It's good. So the Raiders go in front by 7 as they lead the Cowboys by a score of 10-3, 4:40 left first half. We welcome you back. 10-3 ball game now. 4:40 remaining in the half. Line drive kick by Davis, and Tarek Smith will watch this one go out of bounds at about the 5-yard line. All right, Artie, you're the coach. Let me get a grade here on Collins.
Well, Mo Collins, number 79, is the left tackle. He's the future of the Oakland Raiders at that position. It's hard to play left tackle in the NFL. But one thing he does know, and that's how to hold and tackle. He learned that at the University of Florida, where he was a right tackle. And you know what's interesting about him, and I know John Gruden and Al Davis and Bruce Allen, they love him and they project him as a future great player. But he was in a two-point stance most of the time in college. Now he's got to adjust to get down into a three-point stance.
So Tarek Smith will be the tailback now at the 40-yard line. Garrett the quarterback. And Sualua the fullback. And Garrett rolls away from trouble. Now he steps up, he'll run, dives down to the 48-yard line. Discretion the better part of valor, and he picked up almost 4 yards. Well, Tarek Smith is a guy who you're very familiar with, Artie.
Right, I coached him at the University of California. He's a great guy. He's very fast, but, you know, the guy was hurt his entire college football career. The Cowboys took him in the 7th round. He's a fast guy. He'll make this football team as a third down back and a special teams player.
Tore a knee up after a brilliant junior season, and was the same as a senior. Right? Actually, a brilliant sophomore season. It happened when he was a junior. Garrett throws, and this is caught close to a first down.
That was dropped.
Well, let's see. I'm going to say he dropped it. Yeah, I thought he might have possession long enough, but unable to hold on with Stepfret Williams.
And that was a good play. That, like I said earlier, that play is hard to stop, but he came up, jarred the ball loose, and that's one way to knock the ball loose and have it go incomplete.
You know, that's one of the fallacies about playing in the secondary. People think you have to receiver all the time. Receivers are going to catch the football, especially in the NFL. You got to come and knock the ball loose.
Taj Johnson and Jeff Ogden in at wide receivers. Trips left set this time with Ogden the lone wide out to the near side. Out of the shotgun with Smith, the running back, and Garrett throws underneath this time. Caught by Bjornsson, his first catch. And I don't think he's going to get enough for the first down. I think he's going to be a yard short. Rob Holmberg makes sure of that for the Raiders.
And I think the defensive secondary made a mistake back there because 2 defenders on 3 wide receivers on that trip side.
What the Raiders did do, Plump, was they came after him. They blitzed that time.
And here you take a look at it. You only got 2 guys out there, and there's 3 guys running a route, and nobody picks him up.
Well, it is the preseason, and the Cowboys are going to go on 4th down, less than a yard, just short of midfield. They have brought Moose Johnson back into the ball, or Daryl Johnson into the ball game. And the give is to Daryl Johnson. He's got the first down and more. Stepping across the 45 to the 42. Make it Sualua.
You know, Sualua is an interesting guy. He's from Ohio State, but he's 5'11", 257 pounds. Now that's a big man in the backfield carrying the football. And you can see him right here. He'll run over you. He's a tough guy, Barry, to bring down. Look at this angle here, and just look at the power of Sualua. You know, I call him a give, a guard in the backfield. He's not a real back. He's a give.
Strictly a blocking back at Ohio State. Straight back, Garrett looking deep this time. He's got Williams out there, and Williams can't hang on at the 5-yard line. Been a tough night so far for Stepfret Williams.
Yeah, but he's been around the football, you know, and although the ball was a little underthrown, should have been caught, you know, he was there to knock the ball loose.
He was their nickel receiver a year ago, and he had 30 catches in their nickel.
And this time, they bring Michael Hicks to the near. Ogden to the far side. And the throw is to Ogden, can't hang on. And they might say he hung on long enough and it's a fumble. Let's see, Raiders think so. And the officials are going to say incomplete pass, which I think is the right call.
You know, they're showing their aggressiveness. They're coming after that receiver.
Yeah, it's a very different Raider defensive look. Even a different feel about the Raider defense. It's going to be 3rd down 10.
And we can get that feel all the way up here, Barry.
Yeah, that's right.
So how high up as we are.
I'm not trying to make too much of it. I mean, I realize it's the first preseason game. But clearly, if you've been around this team long enough, there's a definitive difference.
Well, its style and its scheme and this blitzing attitude, I think, carries over to the whole football team.
3rd down and 10 now. Garrett out of the shotgun. Raiders jump. And Garrett can't find a handle. Now he picks it up, rolls to his left, runs out of space, runs out of time, and runs out of bounds. Pat Swilling making sure of all that. No flag.
You know, there's an amazing Pat Swilling, a year off. He retired. He thought he was through with football. Comes back. They say he's just as good a shape as when he left this training camp a year ago, and he's out there performing like he never missed a step.
Barry Cantrell will do the punting for the Dallas Cowboys, and Rodney Williams will be the deep man for the Raiders if he gets a chance. He stands at about the 10-yard line. And now whistles blow, and we're going to get the 2-minute warning. 10-3 ball game with 2 minutes remaining. Half the Raiders over the Cowboys. Now is that like he didn't jump on purpose? They don't do it on purpose. They rule because they are not.
Or, you know, it depends maybe how articulate he is.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make too much of it, but they do. There's just a different look about them, you know. Yeah, you know, it's just. No, I know, that's right. That's right. Well, the Raiders host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on KCBS in Los Angeles and KJEO in Fresno. That's 6 o'clock Monday, August 24th.
Hi, Jackie. Love you.
Circle the date.
I will.
Okay. Be there. Be there.
How you doing? Get excited. Yay.
Cantrell will
winning.
punt.
How you guys doing? I love you. Hello.
And Williams will be the deep man for the Raiders. 2 minutes remaining, first half. 10-3 lead, Oakland. Cantrell hits this good, turns it over. It's going to land about 2 yards deep. Hit a little too good.
You know, that's like a golf shot a little bit, Barry. That's a difficult kick to make. You don't want to kick it too hard, but you also want to get the ball up in the air. That's a real skill that punters have got to develop.
He just had no backspin on that ball.
Well, there's John Gruden. He's got to be excited about this first half. And, you know, he's an interesting guy because he's worked his way up the coaching ladder, Barry, in a very short period of time.
Young-looking guy, and this game will put some miles on that face.
With some gray hair.
Yeah, not to mention that. Hollis at quarterback, and the give this time is to Hall, and Hall gets a little room across the 25 to 27, got about 7 yards.
Yeah, now they're in a position, you know, to try and go for a score, you know, get close enough to either kick a field goal or get in the end zone. You know, that first running play picked up some yards. You know, it's a nice draw, safe play, get them a little bit out of trouble, but, you know, if they want to, now they can go into their 2-minute offense.
And this is good vision here, Jim, by Hall. He starts off to the right, comes back to the left, sees the opening, and takes advantage of it.
Hollis was trying to call a timeout, but nobody recognized him, so the clock keeps ticking. 2nd down and 3, kind of a free play here, and Hall gets a yard. Now it'll be 3rd and 2.
Plunk, one of the keys this year, I think, for this Raider offense is to run the football not only better, but more often. Last year, they were an NFL 360 rushing attempts. You got to get that baby. You got to get that baby up to about 450.
Yeah, and one of the things about you know, winning and number of rushes, I mean, they go hand in hand. The more you rush the football, the better chance you have of winning the ball game. And usually the teams who make the playoffs have the most rushes during the course of the year.
I'll give you a good stat, Barry.
I'd like one.
You want a good stat? There were only 7 teams in the National Football League last year that ran the football more than they passed it. 6 of them were in the playoffs. The only team that was not in the playoffs was the Tennessee Oilers. How's that?
That's an excellent
stat. That's a good stat.
How's that make you feel, Plunk?
No, it correlates. No, that's how we got there.
No, but you got to run the football, and it creates a team toughness, Barry, that I just think is just so valuable down the road.
They did that when Plunk played in New England. Unfortunately, it was him that was running the football. Blitz comes, all-out blitz. Hollis throws. It's caught this time by Mickens. Mickens, a little room, dragged down from behind, close to the 40-yard line. That was the right play at the right time.
Sure. On an all-out blitz, they had a little safety valve. Mickens out there running a quick out, and they had to catch him from the inside, which was very tough to do. George Teague did, number 31, and now I'd like to see him to go into a little bit of 2-minute offense.
Well, they got 59 seconds to run the 2-minute offense.
Good job that time by the offensive line of picking up the blitz.
So Hollis has his team at the 38-yard line. He would gladly have things settled for 3. Hollis straight back with time, a lot of time. Finally throws. The ball is caught by Mickens again, knocked out of bounds. 2-yard line of the Cowboys. You know, Donald Hollis is an experienced guy, Barry. He's been with the Oilers. He's been with the Lions. He's been with the Bengals. This guy has been around the National Football League a little bit. And right now, he's doing an excellent job. And I think he's making a great bid to be the number 2 quarterback. You see Mickens now come off the ball and how physical he is at getting away from defenders when he's running his route.
And these crossing routes are going to be a big part of the Raider offense.
I think he's put Mickens' name in ink. He's going to be Hollis straight back. Runs out of time this time and is really cracked back to 45-yard line by Darren Benson, who just blew in. That's going to be one of those close your eyes when you look at the films, isn't it?
Yeah. Benson's a big old guy from Trinity Valley Community College, 6'7", 308 pounds, and that's a lot of beef to be falling on you.
He's only 23 years old, and he's playing his 4th year of professional football.
But he's still big.
Yeah. And now the Raiders will have to burn a timeout. This is not what you call great clock management here.
Now, especially after that sack, the clock automatically stops for 8 seconds on a sack, but then you got to get ready to either call 2 plays in the huddle or get right back to the line of scrimmage and audible your next play. And not very good job there, you're right.
The Raiders still looking to get a little bit more.
Handle adversity when it strikes.
Well, too, Plunk, and we'll get a little bit more on this about the difference in the practices this year from the past several. Hollis rolling away from trouble. Now he throws. Ball is caught by Williams down at the 36-yard line. And now the Raiders will have to burn a timeout. I think it'll be their last timeout.
But I don't think Hollis had any choice in that, Barry. He had to stop the clock. It would have taken too long to rush up the line of scrimmage and call a play at the line.
But there is a flag down right at midfield.
But once again, it's pretty good protection. There's 7 there. He's got to find somebody open. He doesn't, but he takes off, finds the open receiver, and that's very effective sometimes as the quarterback starts to run up.
Oakland, 3rd down.
But sometimes when you start to run towards the line of scrimmage, it brings those defenders up, leaving somebody open downfield.
And John Gruden saying, do not call a timeout. Get out there, just toss the ball down, and then we'll talk about it.
And here's Rodney Williams running the pattern and then start to come back, sees the opening, and catches it.
Well, they threw it for Mickens, and Hollis threw it too tall, and now they got a 4th down. So they got the clock stopped. That's the news. The bad news is that should have been a 1st down.
You know what, Barry? John Gruden might go for it here. It's a long field goal. I'm not sure you want to punt with only 12 seconds left. Plus, your defense is playing very well. So why not go for it?
Well, I think, yeah, you throw the ball in the end zone or you try to hit a deep out, get you a little bit closer for one more play if you can get it out of bounds.
Well, Hollis had an opportunity that time. Mickens was open, and Hollis was just thinking throw the ball away.
Excited.
4th down and 3. And for the middle, the catch is made. It's a 1st down. The Raiders do have that timeout left, so they do stop the clock. Now they have 8 seconds. So you take one chance here, or you just go kick it?
8 seconds, this far out, I think you have to kick it.
Well, it looks like that's what they're doing.
So we'll see. It's going to be Cole Ford who's going to be called upon to do the kicking, and This is
What do you think?
What a
Yeah,
tough job.
I
I mean, here he missed the 23-yarder. That's in the back of his mind.
But you know, Barry, if you make it here, Plunk, I mean, you put yourself probably number one in this field goal kicking race.
Well, and I also think, you know, it's a confidence builder if he does put it through.
45 yards. He's got enough leg. Cole Ford has a big leg.
He can kick it out of the stadium if he wanted to.
It's all between the ears for Cole Ford right now. Snap, place, kick. Got the distance and got the range, and Cole Ford makes it good. Redemption.
I'm happy for the kid. You know, I see him in the locker room sometimes, you know, with his head down. When he first came to the Raiders, he was very talkative and everything, and things just went so sour, it went south on it, that, you know, he had his head down the whole time, didn't talk to anybody. Used to come early to the locker room there, you know, great kick, great follow through, watching it go through. You know, I feel happy for Cole Ford right now.
And a sigh of relief. A look to the heavens.
You bet.
More than jubilation, I think. It was thank you.
But you know, Plunk, that is the loneliest job in football, being the place kicker or the punter, because you're not part of a.
Did almost 2 yards, I believe.
Yeah. Greg Davis will kick it away and puts it on the ground, kicks it off the Dallas Cowboys. That's a live football, and it is finally controlled by the Cowboys, and that's the way the first half will end. And it's been an excellent first half for the Oakland Raiders. First unit doing everything asked of it. The second unit holding its own. 13-3 Raiders into the first half. We'll be back.
Playing here tonight, I think you've got a solid nucleus in the front defensive line. The problem area for the Raiders has been the linebackers, but this scheme, Barry, I think helps the linebackers because they're smaller linebackers that are fast. And if you're blitzing and running around, I think it takes the pressure off the linebackers from having to take on big old offensive linemen.
And here was an area that really needed to changed.
But they went out and changed it.
Absolutely,
Barry.
No question about it. That's what I'm saying. I think they're going to be a lot better in a second.
Well, you add an Eric Allen, you add a Charles Woodson into the mix. You put a James Trapp at corner, and then safeties. You bring in a new guy in Anthony Newman along with Turner. You got a solid group.
And they're deep. Kickoff for the second half, handled by Tarek Smith. And Smith, or rather Oliver, and Oliver gets to the 30-yard line. Make it Mathis. I'll get it right on the third try, I promise. Kevin Mathis, folks. Return man, he gets it back across the 30-yard line to 33. That's the best position off a kickoff that the Cowboys have had today.
Well, now you got to come out and play with the same tempo, Barry, in the second half. And that might be hard to do, but you want your second and your third group of guys to come into the game and to leave this game feeling good about themselves.
Daniel Gonzalez is going to be the quarterback. He actually played rather well against Seattle in the first game. Tarek Smith will be the tailback. Gonzalez, a rookie out of East Carolina. Give to Smith. Smith gets a little bit of a step, but forgets to take the football with him, and the Raiders have it. Just like that. I think it was Louis Riddick who recovered for the Raiders.
You know, Riddick's having a good night. He's made a couple really well, diagnosed plays at the safety position. He's made a couple of big hits. Now, that time he was Johnny on the spot. Now, this is a young back from California, Tarek Smith, who's not used to carrying the ball, and the ball just gets knocked out of his hands. That's good swarm that time by the defensive front of the Oakland Raiders.
And it all starts with penetration early on. Right after he gets the ball, they're in the backfield.
One of his teammates actually was the one who knocked the ball out. It was recovered by Riddick. The ball at the 33-yard line, just across the 33. That's where the Raiders will start. Williams and Hall, the setbacks behind Hollis, going for it all on the first snap. Kenny Shedd cannot catch up with it, and Charlie Williams stopping a little, guarding, defending.
Well, it was close, but you know what? That's the right place to go for the ball and make the defender make a big play. But you know, Barry, where this drive is starting is another great setup by the special teams and the defense to give the Raider offense good field position. You see the ball is a little bit underthrown. I think if that ball would have been thrown in the end zone, Shedd could have caught it.
That'll be second down intended. Williams in motion this time. Out of the I formation. Hall, a tailback, gets the call and gets across the 30 to the 29. Gain of 3.
And here's where Coach Gruden and the other coaches want to see some of these guys who are fighting for a job stand up and show what they can really contribute to this ball club. And this is the best time to do it because it's going to be one of their few opportunities to really play down there against another football team.
You know, Hall last year was the second leading rusher on the Raiders with 120 yards.
Joe Aska in the ballgame for the Raiders now for the first time as a single setback. As Nail Benjamin, another rookie who you're familiar with already. We'll talk about him in a moment. In the ballgame, was thrown to Nail, and he can't hang on.
Nail Benjamin's a wide receiver from the University of California in Berkeley. I think he's got an outside chance of making this team, but he's got to really do something special tonight and really get himself involved in the special teams play.
It's going to be tough. There's a lot of competition. The wide receiver spots. Mickens virtually assured of a spot.
But he might be a practice squad guy because you need DB receiver types.
So Davis this time is going to come on to try the field goal. He will hit it at the 37-yard line, a 47-yard effort. It's Phil Dawson, pardon, not Davis. Phil Dawson. Snap, place, kick, got a lot on it. It is no good. Off to the right, I believe. What did he want that one?
Oh, sure. He wants to show everything he can do, and he's not going to have too many more opportunities after tonight, if any.
So the Raiders come up empty after recovering that Dallas fumble, and we'll come back after this. Well, there's a guy who's largely an observer, and Jim, has a good reason why.
Well, he sprained his thumb very badly in that scrimmage Thursday night in El Paso, and as you can see, he's got a big soft cast on his thumb to protect him. I guess they don't want to get him injured anymore there, so they're going to keep him out, which is a smart move.
Did play long enough to make a brilliant knockdown of a pass intended for Michael Irvin early in the ballgame. Talking, of course, about Charles Woodson. Johnson goes in motion, and this time they give us to Tarek Smith, and not much.
Good penetration again that time by the defensive front of the Oakland Raiders. Get up the field, Barry. That's the best way to disrupt the running game.
And, you know, I like the way they flow. They strung it out. He wasn't able to turn the ball up the field. They made the tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
So. Calvin Branch coming over to make the stop. Branch, another guy who the Raiders are very high on, a guy who had a position change coming out of Colorado State as a running back, now playing safety, only the second year that he's done so. Second out, about 12. Garrett's still the quarterback. And he goes to, Gonzalez, the quarterback. Straight back, knocked down, and now it's caught by Smith. And Smith got a little bit back, but it's still going to wind up a loss of about 2 yards.
Yeah, but it goes as a completion to the quarterback.
I like that.
Yeah.
Shatoni Sargent was the guy that time, number 97, that broke loose and knocked the ball and batted the ball up in the air. Again, good penetration by the defensive line. Sargent gets his hands up and knocks the ball loose. Now, Sargent played in NFL Europe this past spring, so his body is used to playing in these kind of games.
Not only played, he wound up in the championship game. They Rhine Fire were the victors in that game. Gonzalez straight back to pass again, throws, and I'm not sure if the receivers knew who that was intended for. Ogden got a hand on it, but I feel fairly sure that ball was intended for Bjornsson.
You know, that's what you call miscommunication between a quarterback and a receiver. And Bjornsson, interesting guy. He's the guy that the Cowboys want to emerge as the Jay Novacek of this offense. In fact, he's from Bishop O'Dowd High School up in Oakland, and one of the great high school coaches in all of California, Paul Paranon, coached him. Great high school football program in Northern California, Bishop O'Dowd, and he was a quarterback there.
Yep, and he quarterbacked when he first went to the University of Washington, too. Then played wide receiver, then comes here as a tight end. Now he's also played H-back, he's played a little fullback. He's done it all. Cantrell's punt bounces away from Williams and out of bounds, and the Raiders will start at the 25-yard line. When we come back, 12-17 left, third quarter, 13-3, Oakland.
They led the National Football League in special teams penalties with 28. And you know, it's the tough thing about that, Barry. It usually just kills your field position. And you know, John Henry Mills is the star special teams player here for the Raiders, and he does an excellent job. But that time, he got holding. You want your return game, Jim and Barry, to be the first play of the next offensive series. And you want to get good field position and positive field position out of your return game. And you can't have penalties just kill it.
And that's exactly what has befallen the Raiders. They will start deep in their own territory. Actually, the first time that I could remember them starting this far back, they start at the 15-yard line. maybe the opening kickoff.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, they've had good field position all night, and let's see what they do coming out from the 15-yard line here.
Hollis remains the quarterback. We expect him to go the rest of the way. And the give this time is to Hall, I believe. I want to make sure that was Hall in the ball game.
You've got the toughest job in all of football in a preseason game. There are 160 different players on the field that you have to get.
And I
was wrong. It was Pegram.
Right.
I want you to know that, Barry. I sympathize for you.
I appreciate that.
Well, in the old...
Myron Smith is the injured player. Oh, it is Hemsley who is the injured player. Hemsley actually has had an excellent game.
He's made a lot of big plays.
Yeah, it looks like he got him with a helmet, but you know, Barry, you've got to teach those linebackers to move your feet. You use your hands, you use your eyes, and you use your feet to be a great linebacker.
Meantime, the Raiders looking to 2nd. The ball at the 18-yard line. Pegram is the tailback, and this is Pegram running to his right. And got the shoulders squared and picked up a few yards. Going to be just about a yard and a half short of the first down as he gets to about the 24-yard line.
Yeah, Dallas came with a blitz, but the Raiders were able to block it solidly at the point of attack.
And there is Deion Sanders with his ankle wrapped. He came in kind of a walking wounded as it was.
Well, I think that's the ankle he had operated on the offseason
Right.
with bone chips and such. But he damaged Thursday night, but he wasn't all the other drills, passing drills.
I don't think Deion likes camp.
Probably not.
Kenny Shedd comes in motion this time on 3rd down and a yard. Pegram again got the first down and more at the 30, 35 to the 40. And run out of bounds short of the 45-yard line. Biggest running play of the day for the Raiders.
You know, Pegram's an interesting guy. He's been a journeyman. He started in Atlanta in 1993. He had 1,000 yards that year for the Falcons. He went to the Steelers. He's a guy that I think if he makes this team, John Gruden wants him to run the ball inside and kind of be a complement to Napoleon Kaufman. And you see him here. He gets the ball on a pitch. He gets a couple of good blocks up inside, but he ducks his shoulder. He makes the guy miss, and he gets up the field. He's an inside running threat.
Everywhere he's been, he's done the job, too. This is Tim Hall. Taking a couple of people with him across the 45 to 46. Gain of 2.
You know, sometimes a draw like that is not very good on first down. They're in there. They're not worried about a pass on first down, so they're probably going to clog up as they did.
Once again, I'll correct myself. Joe Aska was the ball carrier. Who carried the ball? Just Aska.
Good. That's a good one, Barry.
Yeah, and Joe Aska's the guy who's kind of gone in a little bit disfavor with the Raider organization.
Straight ahead this time, Pegram gets to the 49-yard line.
You know, when Pegram was in Atlanta, he had 2 teammates that are now on the Raiders, and Lincoln Kennedy and Jeff George. And the Raiders, this is a great stat too, Plunk. The Raiders are the only team in the National Football League that has 3 players on the team that have rushed for 1,000 yards. Pegram, Kaufman, and Harvey Williams.
And unfortunately, Harvey Williams is not suited up tonight because of an injury.
Splitbacks this time on 3rd down and 5. Straight back Hollis, 4-man rush. Hollis with time, steps up, throws underneath to Kenny Shedd. The catch is made, but it's going to be a yard short of the first down.
And there as a receiver, you've got to know the down and distance. It was 3rd down and 5, and he winds up with on the reception. And that's not, you know, you're not thinking your head's not in the game. You've got to know how far you need to go for that first down.
So the Raiders will punt it away. Arraguez will come on. Arraguez has not really had an opportunity to just really let it fly, and this situation very much the same.
But you know, as we talked about, his net punting last year was sensational. He was 2nd in the National Football League.
Mathis is the deep man at the 10-yard line, and Arraguez hits this one up. Twisting kick, fair catch, and then he lets it go, and that's going to take a Raider bounce down to the 6-yard line. That's a darn good punt.
And a good job by Mills of recovering the ball and downing it.
They will mark it at the 9-yard line, 13-3 Raiders, and we're coming back. This game has gone to a crawl.
That was a good run by Pegram, though. I liked it. That was exciting.
He had to go out and get a cup of water, but no, really, we're having technical problems, and Barry's mic is down. We'll be back in a second. Cowboys ball now on the 9-yard line, 1st and 10. Breaking the huddle.
That was your big chance.
That was my
right
chance
there.
to be a play-by-play guy. I like being the critique.
It's good.
I think Josh LaRocca is in at quarterback, number 7 for the Cowboys.
So they have now gone 4 deep at the quarterback position, and the give this time is to Bo Morgan. I believe that's Bo Morgan. Oh, it's Tarek Smith, and Smith fighting for some good yardage, so trying to make some amends for that fumble earlier in the game.
The one thing that Smith has, he's got acceleration, Barry, and you know that from covering a couple of Cal games a year ago. He can get up in the hole, make you miss, and re-accelerate up the field and get positive yardage. This guy is a talented athlete.
So 1st down on the 11-yard gain by Tarek Smith. Josh LaRocca, the 4th quarterback we've seen for the Cowboys tonight. There's a corner blitz, and it's picked up. And the pass is complete this time to Anthony Eubanks. Isn't he a game show host?
You know, Marcus Walker came up and made the play. Marcus Walker is a guy that the coaches really like, and he's a guy the other night and tonight that they have used in nickel situations. So they think very highly of him. He's a 3rd-year guy out of Southeast Missouri State.
It's going to be a 2nd down and 4 now call it 2nd and 5 for the Cowboys, as they bring Taj Johnson to the near side and Eubanks to the far side. LaRocca the quarterback.
And there's something you expect to see, which has happened a couple of times with the Raiders, Donald Hollis, and now to Josh LaRocca. Sometimes, and it's not only sometimes the exchange isn't so bad sometimes, but it's so hot, so humid. Their uniforms are so wet that the ball gets wet and it's right through their hands. I think that's exactly what happened there. I don't know why he's wearing a long sleeve shirt.
Because he was standing on the sidelines doing nothing.
Yeah, but you're not going to get cold on these sidelines.
You better believe in that.
Those clipboards can cut you up there, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Here's an audible now, Barry, from the shotgun formation.
They have not had much success with the shotgun today. Raiders show blitz, and they come. And LaRocca hangs in there and throws a tough pass that should have been intercepted by Perry Carter. He had it in his hands, couldn't hang on.
And that was very good coverage, you know, and the Raiders are fairly deep in experienced cornerbacks with Perry Carter, Dan Land.
You know, it's a good job this time, Plunk, by Perry Carter breaking for the ball. Now, I don't think the ball was that well thrown, but Perry Carter times it perfectly, steps in front, and picks it off and then drops it. But he should have caught that.
So the Cowboys will punt it away, and Williams will have an opportunity here for the Raiders. Good kick. Williams, fair catch at the 26-yard line. He dropped it. And then just goes back and falls on it wisely back at the 21. So the Raiders again will start deep in their own territory. And with that, we'll jump off the track. 6:34 remaining, 3rd quarter, 13-3 Raiders.
They think Larry Allen can do the job. Well, I know that. Larry don't want to do it. Larry don't. You saw how far back he's on the ball. Number 4, 3, 2. Hey, Mom.
And we welcome you back. 13-3 ballgame. Very happy Raider
right
bench,
here,
and with good reason. They have done everything asked of them in this first outing for Coach John Gruden. Here's a give this time to Pegram, and Pegram again picking up good yardage, and a nice hole opened up front. Darren Hambrick makes the stop for the Cowboys.
You know, and I thought in the scrimmage the other night, Barry and Jim in El Paso, I thought the Cowboys looked a lot sharper than the Raiders, but that is certainly not evident here tonight. You know, we were talking about El Paso. The ticket prices for a scrimmage, Barry, $10, $16, $24, $40, and $110. Can you imagine paying $110 to see a scrimmage?
No, I can't. I can't imagine seeing them for free.
And they did. They had over 40,000 people at 10.
I know they did.
Half of them Raiders fans.
Yeah, and you know what? People complain in the NFL about ticket prices, especially up in Oakland, but $110 to see a scrimmage. And all you got with that ticket was a hot dog and a Coke, you know?
What does that tell you about El Paso?
Hey, they're starving for some.
Well, they just, you know, Oscar De La Hoya had a fight down there just about a month ago, and they had 60,000 people.
You know what was amazing, though? Like Jim just said, the amount of Raider fans there. It was like a,
That's true. I got to be careful. I got to go to El Paso next week and do a fight. Straight back is Hollis to pass. Throws, and it's caught this time by Williams, and Williams gets it all the way to the 45-yard line. Big gainer on the pass from Donald Hollis to Rodney Williams.
And once again, protection was very sound, not particularly great that time, but he stood in there, found the open receiver, Rodney Williams. Once again, those crossing routes are going to be coming up all year long for the Raiders. And here it is, good solid protection. They keep everybody out, yet he's got to hold the ball a little bit. He stands in there and delivers it right on the money. And Rodney Williams is able to turn it up and gain a few extra yards.
Rodney Williams getting an opportunity tonight. The free agent out of Arizona, Desmond Howard, is hurt, so Williams had a chance to return punts and has also caught a couple of balls. That's in and out of the hands of Nail Benjamin, and he has dropped a couple of them so far tonight.
Well, young guys are nervous, and that time Nail Benjamin tried to run up the field before he had control of the field. He's got to learn to catch the ball first, secure it, and then turn up the field.
So it'll be 2nd down and 10. Ball at the 45-yard line. This game is now settled into what you expect from an early preseason game. Hall back in the ball game for the Raiders along with Jermaine Williams. This is Jermaine Williams, and he gets it to about the 49-yard line. Going to be a gain of about 4. It'll be 3rd and 6.
And this is where the Raiders have to improve. 3rd down. They've got to be able to turn these into 1st downs. But you were talking about crowds in El Paso. Even here tonight in this Texas Stadium, a sold-out house for a preseason game, the first one at home. And, you know, that's the kind of support, you know, you'd like to see in Oakland. And it's a shame that's not happening. This is going to be a very fun, exciting football team. How good remains to be seen, but they're going to be exciting.
Certainly improved. Split backs this time are Hall and Williams behind Hollis on 3rd and 6. Hollis straight back. He has time. He steps up. He throws, and it is caught, I believe, by Benjamin. So Nail, after dropping a couple, makes a tough catch in traffic for a 1st down.
But once again, you know, Fred Biletnikoff, the wide receivers coach. And the key to this is Benjamin coming back for the football. And here you see him going up, taking the ball up, and then coming back towards the line of scrimmage to make that catch possible. And, you know, and a lot of the credit goes to Fred Biletnikoff for the fine job he's done with these wide receivers, and the young ones in particular.
Edward Hervey in the ball game now. Near side. The give this time is to Pegram, and Pegram gets a little bit of a step. That's the 40-yard line. Got about 2. Darren Hambrick, who's been very active defensively for the Cowboys, makes the tackle.
You know who's in there? Still in there is Mo Collins.
Well, you know, that's good, though, because he needs to work. He's a guy that's going to be the future offensive left tackle for this football team, and he's got to play the game. Because, you know, Punk, one of the problems with him coming in, he's not only got to learn a complex offensive system, but he's got to learn to pick up complex defenses. He's got a high guy playing behind him in the quarterback, so it's going to be a little bit of a time and a learning trend for this guy.
Straight back to pass Hollis on 2nd down, and he is hit and fumbles, and the Cowboys have it. Brett Williams made the hit on Hollis. And Hollis a little bit slow to get up.
Well, that's the toughest hit for a quarterback, and John Gruden knows it, because when his back is to the rusher, that's when fumbles are caused, because you don't see the guy coming. Talking about Big Mo, but number 79 here, he kind of gets schooled a little bit. Williams comes outside, comes back inside, and knocks the ball loose. I think I jinxed him a little bit on that, Barry, but that's what preseason is for. He'll learn. That time his right foot, his inside foot, crossed over, and he lost his balance.
Hervin McCormick made the recovery for the Cowboys, who will have it at the 42-yard line. LaRocca is still the quarterback. And it's knocked down. There to make the play for the Raiders, Taise Faumui.
Say that again.
Taise Faumui.
Now, he's another guy that played in NFL Europe. He's from the University of Hawaii, and, you know, talking to the defensive coaches, they like him. He's a hard-playing guy, and he's a high-energy guy that plays with a lot of passion.
Played for the Amsterdam Admirals.
Yeah, the Raiders had 6 players play in NFL Europe this past year.
I'll tell you what, I had a chance a couple of years ago to do some games over there.
Did you like it?
It's fun. You know, it was fun. I think the players had a good experience doing it. Amsterdam played, I'll tell you about in just a moment here. Oh, yeah, no, it's not bad. Not a bad thing to say. They work on a screen this time, and the ball's dropped. Sorry to say, they were drawing 17,000, 18,000 fans, which is bad enough, but they were playing in an 80,000-seat stadium. It was the old Olympic Stadium in Amsterdam. I think it was in 1918 when they had the Olympics there, so it's a pretty lonely place.
You know, but another thing about this Raider defense tonight, their awareness. You know, that was a screen, a lot of backup players in there right now, but yet they smelled out that screen, was right there to make.
So it'll be 3rd down and 10 now. LaRocca, incidentally, has 1 year of NFL experience. He's out of Rice Institute in Houston, the same school, oddly enough, that Donald Hollis played quarterback at.
Oh, and you know what? You mentioned Donald Hollis. In his first 2 years at Rice, he was a defensive back. I mean, a lot of people don't know that. Then his last 2 years, he played quarterback and set some.
Bought by phone.
Yeah, you got it. You gonna come this way?
Convenience fee? Isn't that a contradiction? Out of the shotgun and a bad snap. LaRocca handles it and can't get away from the Raiders, who are quickly on him.
You know, that's one of the problems with the shotgun, Barry. I mean, the center has a lot more responsibility than just hiking the ball to the quarterback. He's got to snap the ball in that short punt type formation. Because you know why it's hard? Because he's not only got to snap it, but then he's got to get up and. That is a very difficult skill to master. And you have younger players like that time that have a difficult time with it.
Let's credit Rob Holmberg with the stop on LaRocca that time. And the Cowboys will punt. This is a low kick, should be returnable for Williams at the 25. Trying to get to the outside, got a block at the 30. Tries to step outside the 35. It was a great block, incidentally, made by Marquise Walker.
Well, he's having a good camp. You know what? I love Rodney Williams. He's a guy, Barry, he's got a very interesting story. He was born with one kidney. And, you know, he was injured his senior year at Arizona, and he didn't run very well for the Scouts, which is why he became a free agent. But, you know, this guy is something special. And you're going to see the great block come up in the right hand of your screen here. Williams sees it, starts to get up the field, and the timing on the block by Walker.
Give this time is to Pegram, and Pegram doesn't get much that time. Might have got back to the line of scrimmage.
But going back to Williams, that's true. You know, he was born with one kidney, and Dr. Albo, the team physician, he has a kidney pad, and you can play with one kidney, obviously, college or professional sports, and, you know, he's a great example of it. And he never knew he had one kidney until he got his exam by the National Football League. His mother never told him.
Now that's a good story.
Yeah, his mother never told him.
2nd down 10 now. Hollis all the way at quarterback after Jeff George played the first quarter, and Hollis on a little shovel pass that time intended for Pegram. I don't think that's the way the play was drawn up. Pegram couldn't hang on. Darren Benson with a big push. Benson's having a nice game for the Cowboys also.
Well, sometimes you have to improvise over there. You know, things aren't always, you know, happen on the field the way they're drawn up on the chalkboard, but sometimes you just have to, you know, make a play.
You know, there's some impressive numbers there. You know, obviously dominating the passing game statistics tonight.
Yeah, that really is impressive. You have to be impressed with what the Raiders have done defensively, and they looked at an awful lot of bodies. Hollis steps up this time. Now he'll run. He's got room. He gets the 45 and almost lost the football. That's going to be close to a first down. I think he may have it. Singor Mobley made the stop, but I think Hollis had a first down.
I'm really impressed with Hollis's mobility tonight, Blunk. You know, when you see him in practice, you don't think he's that agile and that mobile. But here, he tucks, he runs up the field. God, he looks like John Elway of a couple of years ago, Barry. This guy is a mobile quarterback, which is what I think you need in the National Football League today because of all the blitzing and the crazy defenses that quarterbacks see.
What he's trying to be, actually, is the number 2 quarterback here behind Jeff George. Wade Wilson is the guy that is penciled. And I use that term, penciled in.
I think what we'll see, though, Barry, is next week at Green Bay, probably Wade Wilson get a chance because I think it's unfair for a quarterback to be put in just for a quarter. You want to play 3 quarters of the game, get some rhythm going, and you get some feel. I think this is an intelligent decision, Plunk, by the coaching staff to do it this way. Right?
Well, I also think that Donald Hollis needs to work. He hasn't played a whole lot in the last several years.
So it is a first down by Hollis, and this is Joe Aska stepping outside midfield, taking people with him to the 45-yard line. That's what Aska does very well. He's quick and he's big, and he took Singor Mobley for a little ride that time.
You know, for a while before Napoleon Kaufman got to the Raiders, you know, thinking that maybe Aska would be their guy at halfback. He has great speed. He's got 4.4, 4.5 speed for a big man, and he can go all the way on anyone playing. A few years ago, he had some very big games, and all of a sudden he disappeared.
You know, in college, Punk, he was the national 55-meter indoor champion. This guy is a fast, big man.
At 245. Aska again, and he's going to get a first down. Greg Bright, rookie out of Georgia, makes the stop.
That's a good name for a linebacker, huh?
I like
Greg
that.
Bright. Good name. Good football name.
Should be a Stanford guy. 13-3, Raiders. We're coming back right after this.
You tell me where you want to go, but I think we need to talk.
Go ahead.
We need to talk about this. You know, Al Davis had that press conference. He did that thing on the radio.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, let's get a reaction.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear any of it.
Didn't hear it?
No.
Well, he did. He had a 45-minute.
I knew he was doing it. I knew he was doing it. Line of scrimmage at the 44-yard line of the Cowboys, and they give us to Hall, and Hall gets a little room and gets it down to the 36-yard line. And significantly, guys, all of a sudden the Raiders were able to run the football.
Well, I think, you know, number one, it's hot. Players are getting tired down there. Different players are in, you know, second, third teamers. So, you know, it's bound to show up on the ground in particularly.
But, you know, it's a good sign because conditioning was an issue last year, and I know John Gruden has emphasized conditioning up in training camp.
Hall and Williams, the running for the Raiders now, and this is Hall again trying to bounce outside and couldn't quite do it. Dragged down for a loss on the play, and a good play defensively by Singor Mobley.
You know, Barry, the other thing I think with the running game, the Raiders have got some good young offensive linemen. You throw in Mo Collins with Gennaro DiNapoli, their fourth-round draft choice out of Virginia Tech, Scott Whitaker, a backup, number 78 from the University of Kansas, Darrell Ashmore. They got some good young offensive linemen in that second group.
Rick Cunningham, listed on the depth chart, is out there playing now. A guy with 9 years experience. Aska back in at the running back spot. They bring Williams in motion. Hollis will go up, and they throw for Williams, and Williams going to get the first down to the 30-yard line. Nice effort that time by Jermaine Williams, and bodies stacked up back at midfield.
You know, they talk about Williams and they talk about Ritchie having great camps, but the guy that was penciled in to be the starting fullback, Chad Leavitt, hasn't played because he's been injured the whole time. So is a very competitive position right now when Leavitt gets back because Ritchie's doing well, Williams is doing well. They're all pretty good special teams guys, and Aska can play fullback too.
I think there's going to be some difficult decisions in general on this football team for John Gruden and the staff.
That's what makes you better, though, competition.
They bring Hervey in motion this time on first down, and the pitch to Aska, running wide, gets outside. He's the 25, knocked out of bounds the 23.
You know, and there's a guy who doesn't just take a blow, he delivers the blow on that particular tackle right there. He's just a big, strong, fast guy.
Well, let me be honest with you here then. That's true. And every time you see him, he's gaining yards, and he's big, and he's fast, and he's strong. So what's the problem?
Well, I think part of the problem is that he had trouble the first couple of years picking up the system. He's making too many mental mistakes. But there it is, you know, and there, you know, that 43 took it in the chin that time. But, you know, that was what I heard from the coaches. That's, you know, he made too many mental mistakes. They're afraid to get their quarterback killed.
This time they bring Williams in motion. A delay this time to Aska. And get it down to about the 21-yard line.
You know, Barry, what a lot of people forget, in blitz protection, the running back, the fullback, the tailback are key elements in that protection. Everybody blames the quarterback or the offensive line, but so many times it's the running back who missed it. And a guy plays at a small college like Central Oklahoma, and then he comes to the National Football League. It's hard to learn the blitz protections, and I think that's been a problem, as Jim pointed out, for a guy like Joe Aska, who's got a lot of talent.
One eye, and there's some question about peripheral vision. It's just a question that won't go away. Aska dives, and I believe he's going to get the first down.
This is called the jump bowl over the pile. Marcus Allen and Charlie White used to do that at USC when I was there, and Bam Bam Cunningham, I think, made that famous. But, you know, that's good. But the bad news is if a linebacker's sitting there waiting for you and he puts his helmet right into your knocks the ball loose.
There was some good news, too, though. The offensive line got a pretty good push that time.
Yeah, they did.
So the ball just inside the 20-yard line. It's been a nice drive for the Raiders. Aska again, and he's stopped right now by Michael Myers. Well, the story on Myers, he's very quick off the ball, and he certainly was there.
Well, he's a guy that's been a little bit of a disappointment for these Cowboy coaches. You know, he came here from the University of Alabama. I think it was the 40th guy taken in the National Football League draft. They want him to step it up this year. You know, you talk about Cowboy defense. They were number 2 overall in the NFL last year in total defense, 24th against the run, 1st against the pass.
Great corners, of course, in Dallas. Smith and Sanders. Straight back to pass. Hollis throws over the middle. Nice catch this time by Brigham, the tight end. Gets it down inside the 10-yard line of the 8. First ball, I believe, that's been caught by a tight end for the Raiders in this ball game. And there was a flag down back at the quarterback position. I think that's going to be roughing the.
That was a tremendous catch and throw.
I'll tell you, Brigham is another guy. He was a backup tight end at Washington.
Yeah, behind Cleveland, Cam Cleveland, you know, but that's okay. I think that's great job by the Raiders scouts to go in and find a guy like that who
Personal
didn't start
foul, roughing
and
the
draft
passer,
him.
number 68 on the defense. The penalty will be added to the end of the run. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
And you know, Barry, he only caught 3 passes last year at the University of Washington. But John Kingdom, one of the scouts, Harrock, they think this guy has got some real ability. And here's the roughness now, and that is a late hit. That's what I describe as an ignorant foul.
It was that. Give it to Aska, and Aska gets down about the 3-yard line. This has been a pretty good drive by the Raiders, very time-consuming.
You know, another thing that John Gruden's looking for, keep that offense on the field, keep that other offense off the field as well, and just, you know, keep the ball moving, get first downs, that clock.
Rosensteele has come into the ball game as a second tight end for the Raiders. So Brigham and Rosensteele both in the game. I formation, Aska the tailback. This is Aska. He dives, and he's not going to get there. He might get to the 1-yard line.
So that's what I was talking about on those dives when there's a linebacker sitting there. And it's a great hit for a linebacker to get that because the running back's in midair. You really don't have to hit him that hard, but it seems like hard. But John Gruden, as Jim said, and Jim, you're so right, wants to establish and come out of this game feeling good about the running game, especially in the goal line area and especially in short yardage. And here you get a great look at Aska going up over the top.
Chiki Ibunawe was the guy who put the hammer on it. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, that's a good name.
There's a give to Aska again. He's not going to get there again. And the Raiders are going to be looking at a 4th down. Hollis signaling touchdown, but he's going to be about a foot short.
And being an old running back coach too, Barry, what Aska's doing there, I think he's starting to jump too soon. He's got to get a little closer to the line of scrimmage before he starts to get up in the air.
So, excuse me, but you know, I'd almost think they'd go for it in this situation. Try to get some confidence with that offensive line. Get it, you know, they need less than a foot into the end zone, but once again, they're bringing in the kicking team, but maybe because of the competition in that kicking situation.
I would think that that's probably it. Greg Davis, who did convert earlier, will get another try and another little chip shot. This is going to be an 18-yarder. Can't get him much shorter than that in the NFL.
You know, on the replay, Barry, you saw Aska starting to jump too early in the backfield. That was a great example of it and great camera work by our crew.
There's a flag down there on the field.
Hey, Barry, I got another trivia for you.
Give it to me.
On Greg Davis. Do you know he's the only kicker in NFL history?
On the offense, 5-yard penalty remains 4th down.
The only kicker in NFL history to have 2 kicks in overtime, 2 field goals in overtime of 50 yards or more.
I did not know that.
And neither did I until I found it in the press guide this morning by accident.
That's excellent. So now it becomes a 23-yard effort. And the results are the same. Davis makes good, and the Raiders lead it by 13, 16-3. 8 minutes, 19 seconds remaining in this one. A long drive by the Raiders, culminating in a 23-yard field goal by Davis.
because we need to talk about a couple of things, I think. And yeah, if you could find him somewhere. You know, he might be below us a little bit. Hey, Plunk, they're going to show Al a little bit, and we need to chime in on him here a little bit, I think. This is a Raider. Sure, but just let's get it in, okay? Okay.
What, we have numbers on him? So is that what we're doing, talking about Aska?
We said, yeah. I think he's going to Elvis on him, whatever that is. This is brutal.
I think that may be Joe Aska's last hurrah. I think that may be Aska's last hurrah. I think that may be Aska's last hurrah. Yeah. We are back at Texas Stadium. Raiders have taken a 13-point lead. They lead at 16 to the 23-yard field goal by Davis. Phil Dawson will kick it off, and he'll be kicking to Tarek Smith and Bo Morgan. Bo Morgan's an interesting story. A guy who still has a commitment to the Air Force, was the quarterback at the Air Force Academy, is here in his second year as a running back, although we say second year, and all he's been able to do is take part in preseason. He will be available in 1999, but this is Tarek Smith at the 10, the 15 to the 20, to the 25 to 30. Got a little room at the 35 to 40, and down at the 43-yard line. Kenny Shedd made the tackle.
Barry, Cal, I taught Tarek Smith how to run. I helped him with his speed.
4.3 speed he's got. That's hard to coach.
I know, but I did it.
Well, Joe Aska had a lot of opportunities. That's right. I thought we were going to the Elvis. That's why I started to talk about Aska. Problems, Artie.
Yeah, but again, as I said before, I think he's starting to leave too soon. That time he did a pretty good job of it, but when you're going over the top, you want to get a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage so, you know, you can cover more ground in the air. But that was just a wonderful defensive play that time by the Dallas Cowboy linebacker.
So the Cowboys start at the 41-yard line. Bo Morgan in at the running back spot for Dallas. And the Cowboys really do like him. They've had good success with waiting on people out of the Air Force Academy. Chad Henning was drafted in 1988 and did not become available to play until 1992.
They also had some success waiting for a guy out of the Naval Academy.
Yes, they did. Quite a bit of success.
The guy who practiced throwing on an aircraft carrier out in the middle of the Mediterranean somewhere.
Exactly. You know, going back to Bo Morgan, he had 53 yards last week against Seattle. He was a great wishbone quarterback at Air Force. But you know what he is? He's a guy that just loves the game of football, and he's a good athlete.
And you know what? I'll go back on the trivia that I asked you before about Jason Garrett being the only player who was coached. Bo Morgan is coached. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Here is Bo Morgan. He's going to get outside and almost got a step, but he got the 48-yard line, a gain of about 4. It'll be 3rd down and 4. I started to say Bo Morgan, his military assignment is assistant football coach at the Air Force Academy.
Does he get a grade for that?
That's not bad.
Oh, that's pretty good. Wish I could have gotten into the academy.
Well, his brother was a quarterback, as a matter of fact,
right.
So it's keep it all in the family.
You know, there's a look at Albert Lewis. Now, Albert is a perennial all-pro player for the Raiders as a corner, but this year moved inside to play the safety position. And I'll tell you, he's done a great job of making the adjustment.
LaRocca is still the quarterback for the Cowboys. 3rd down and 4. Out of the shotgun, LaRocca throws, and it is incomplete that time. Again, a good defensive job. They're going to say a little bit too good. Michael Hicks unable to make the catch. And defending for the Raiders was Kevin Franklin.
You know, going back to Albert Lewis, you know, he made a couple statements last week about how he's adjusting safety.
Pass interference, number 23 defense. First down.
And he studied videos and films of his ex-teammate from the Kansas City Chiefs, Deron Cherry. He said he spent a lot of time this offseason studying Cherry to learn how to play safety. And you know, Barry, it's the difference between playing left field and center field. It's a big difference moving from corner to the safety position.
Another one of those guys is a high character guy. Plunkett talked about that after this play here. So LaRocca with a first down at the Raider 45, and give us to Morgan again. Morgan stutter step, get the 40, get to the 35, down to the 33-yard line. Good effort by Bo Morgan, kind of picking up where he left off.
I think Bo Morgan is showing a lot down there tonight. Great cutback right there. Made the tackler miss, gained an extra 6 yards on the run, and you know, he's showing a lot down there. He's a very good player.
It's hard to say. Lewis is a guy with a lot of character, and that is starting to be a hallmark of this Raider team. And I don't even want to say it's contrary to what it was in the past, but I'll say it. It's contrary to what it was in the past.
Yeah, before they had a lot of renegades, a lot of people who didn't fit in on other teams, and this year, you know, the character of the players that they're bringing in are first class all the way.
Well, even got Russell Maryland as a first-class guy. I had a chance to be at a banquet, not even a banquet, actually a small gathering, listening to Napoleon Kaufman, who gave a very inspirational talk. Really first-class guy. Right. And Kenny Shedd, been around a little bit, first-class guy. And I'm sure I'm probably leaving out 25 people, but that just seems to be what this team is all about now.
But you know, I think it's a trend. It's a change from the past. Mentioned before, these guys, you got to find out, do they want to play? Are they going to be flakes? You know, they're trying to find that out beforehand instead of bringing them in and finding out, you know, a year or two later when it's too late.
But you know, Plunk, I think that's a trend in the NFL right now. If you're investing $8 or $9 million in a guy, you want a responsible human being.
Second down now, and about 6. Play fake this time, and LaRocca throws, and it's caught by Michael Hicks, rookie out of Texas El Paso, as a matter of fact.
You know, you were talking about Kaufman. You know, he did such a great thing with that Christina Williams kidnapping down in southern, you know, San Jose, wherever that was. Monterey. And, you know, he's a character guy. But the Raiders have got a lot of people like that do a lot of things unnoticed, Barry, in the community. You know, during the regular football season, between 30 and 40 people, players and people in the Raider organization go out in the community. So a lot of that stuff, unfortunately, goes unnoticed, but it's happening.
I think they've always done things that are unnoticed in the community. That's the problem. But this, I'm starting to say, this is a very different team, and that's the point we're making here.
And there, I think LaRocca just couldn't wait. He should have had a little bit more patience, wait for the receiver to come out of the break.
Well, Plunk, what did you think of Al Davis's statements in El Paso? You know, for our listeners and our viewers out there, Al Davis had a 45-minute radio show and talked basically about the state of the Raiders. What'd you think?
Well, you know, I think, you know, he had to say in particular about the stadium and the attendance situation, not nearly what he would like to see. He would like to see sold-out suites, sold-out PSLs, full stadium, and unfortunately he hasn't gotten that in the 3 years he's been there.
Second down and 10 for the Cowboys now, and the give again is to Morgan, and Morgan gets there in a hurry down to the 16-yard line.
You know, going back to that, Barry, I thought Al was great because the first thing he said was, you know, hey, we got to get this football team back to where it belongs. And we know we had some problems the last 2 or 3 years, but we're going to correct it. And, you know, the other thing that he made very clear was that the city and county of Oakland lied to him in terms of inducing him to come back to Oakland. And this thing has got to be rectified before, you know, I think the place ends up getting sold out. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Third down and about 5. Out of the shotgun once more, and LaRocca throws, and this one is caught by Eric Bjork at the 9-yard line. There'll be a first down and goal for the Cowboys.
And you know, Barry, you look at in this day and age of professional football, the lifeblood of a National Football League franchise is the luxury suites and the signage. You know, you look around in here, look at all the signage in this, you know, stadium. I mean, that's where you make your money, but you got to sell out the luxury suites.
And I'd like to say something after this play about that.
First down and goal, the ball at the 9-yard line. LaRocca trying to get the Cowboys their first touchdown of the day. And they throw this time incomplete, intended for Hicks. A little bit of contact there, but no flag.
And the ball was uncatchable. It was way out of bounds, Barry. But, you know, talking about sold-out stadiums and luxury boxes and such, in order to compete in the NFL today, you know, you need that revenue. You got to be like the Dallases here, the 49ers, Denver Broncos, who sell out for, I don't know, 20-something years already. Because the cost of these players has gone up. You know, the first-round draft choice signs an $8 million bonus to come to the Raiders. And, you know, you need money to do that.
Second down and goal at the 9-yard line. Blitz comes. They go to the run with Bobby Rodriguez, the ball carrier. Bobby Rodriguez also played at Houston and also served a little time as a.
I was going to say served a little
back.
time. Okay.
No, sorry. No reflection on previous comments. A little time backing up Antoine Smith.
Okay.
But you know, there's a lot of players in this game, not only for the Cowboys, but for the Raiders from Texas that either went to college here or high school. In fact, Barry, on the Raider roster, there are 13 players out of the 80-man roster that their hometowns and their high schools are in the state of Texas.
This time LaRocca will throw, goes to the end zone. It is caught short of the end zone by Hicks, and he can't get there. And it'll be fourth down. No chance upcoming for the Cowboys. And they do it right at the 2-minute warning. So we'll jump away, 16-3 Raiders. At least the Raiders used a lot of the clock on that last drive. Which one?
Kind of feel uncomfortable doing it. Bringing it out of the blue. You know what? Forget it. Come on. You know what? Forget it. Come on, straight.
I don't say it. Forget it.
The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders sponsor Jose Adair and Tulia.
2 minutes left, 16-3 ball game. Cowboys threatening, almost took it in on the last play. Michael Hicks, though, stopped just short of the end zone.
And I think if he had gone with his first fake after the reception, he probably would have turned inside and scored, but he tried to do a double fake and came right into the defender.
Well, you know, that's a marvelous tackle, though, by Dan Land there.
Keeping him out.
Of wrapping him up and keeping him out of the end. That's what you call a sure tackle.
By a veteran player. So it'll be fourth down and goal. They need about a yard, a little more than a yard. Rodriguez and Morgan are the running backs. And LaRocca will throw. Back of the end zone and wide open for the touchdown.
Didn't make the catch. He was knocked away at the last second by
Albert Lewis. Albert Lewis knocked it away. Looked for all the world as though he was going to catch that ball. He was wide open. I guess LaRocca just waited a little long. We're coming back, 16-3 Oakland.
Good.
Timeout on the field.
Okay. Story of that last drive, Artie, was veteran players making veteran plays.
Well, Albert Lewis is going to be 38 years old in October, and I think he's really doing an excellent job of making the adjustment from corner to safety. He played corner for 17 years, but you see he can be a physical player as well as a smart player, and I think all those attributes that he has will make him an excellent addition to the safety core here for the Raiders.
And the last play was a big-time play, knocking this ball down in the end zone. We'll see it in just a moment here, as that was the third down play. Raiders back to live action. We never did see the knockdown of the ball in the end zone, but Albert Lewis made that play too that saved the touchdown.
But you know, you're a veteran guy that's played in a lot of big games. I think you can make the transition. And like I said before, it's a difference, Barry, between being a third baseman or a shortstop. You know, you got things coming at both sides of you at safety as opposed to one side like you do as a corner.
But the thing is about Albert Lewis, I don't think, you know, notwithstanding his instincts and his experience and everything, will his wheels hold up? He's got a lot more territory to cover.
All right, we're going to jump away to 3 Oakland. We're going to be late coming back, I think, because we missed about 25 seconds. Oh, are they? Okay. Okay, what's the Al Davis thing?
Think he's happy?
Gotta be.
Some of the coaches were talking the other night, about other coaches, Madden, Flores, about winning their first game and remembering it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty important for for a young coach to go out there and win, even if it's a preseason game. They'll remember that forever. Of course, they'll remember their first regular season game as well.
Returning to play, second down and 8 for the Raiders.
Minute 34 seconds left in this one. The Raiders are the first win for John Gruden, walking away in the distance, as you see. Great hire by Al Davis, and a lot of noteworthy accomplishments.
Well, Al Davis has done a lot of great things. He's the first to hire a Hispanic head coach, Tom Flores. First to hire a black head coach in the NFL, in Art Shell. He has a woman CEO in Amy Trask running the football team right now. Al Davis is a guy, I think, that's a visionary person that at times gets misunderstood because he's not a public person. I think this guy is brilliant people around, and especially in the National Football League and in pro sports.
And he's going to do it his way. We were talking on the way over here, as a matter of fact, about the comparison between him and Jerry Jones. Both guys who, for better or worse, are going to do it the way they see it right.
Yeah, we're trying to look up words for them to describe them. Maverick being one of them. I don't know if we call him a trendsetter in a sense, but certainly, as Artie said, a visionary. I mean, they're thinking down the road a long way about how this game is going to develop and evolve. And, they're trying to make the decisions today people won't think of probably for years.
Barry, I remember talking to him a couple of years ago, and he was talking about the TV contracts would double. They ended up doubling. The Cleveland franchise going for, $6.5 million. It happened. I mean, he's a guy sort of like an E.F. Hutton sometimes in the pro sports world. And when he talks, I think a lot of people listen.
He is one of a kind, Al Davis. Earlier we talked about the depth of this Raider team, some of the decisions John Gruden is going to have to make, And there's going to be some difficult personnel decisions that Gruden will have to make because there's a lot of talent on this football team.
Well, that's good, though. I mean, it creates a competitive atmosphere, and I think you're seeing a result of that a little bit here tonight.
Yeah, guys are fighting for their job. They're fighting hard because they know if they have the opportunity, they're going to make this up. But,
Take a look at the tight ends. And Jeremy Brigham made a loud statement for himself tonight. They will carry 3, I suspect, tight ends.
Yeah, it could be 4.
At the wide receiver spots, these may be some of the more difficult decisions to be made. Rodney Williams got a lot of playing time, has been impressive. Kenny Shedd, of course, and Orlando Truitt and Terry Mickens. Mickens made the loudest noise, I think, tonight of any wide receiver. I think he's guaranteed a job. The running backs, some more choices.
So, without question, Harvey Williams is banged up, hasn't had a chance to play. Chad Levitt the same way. Eric Brigham showed well out there tonight.
Jermaine Williams played very well, I thought, tonight. Quarterbacks, Jeff George, of course, will be the starter.
I think this is an easier decision, though.
Yeah, the question is who's 2 and who's 3,
right.
Hollis or Wilson. And John Gruden very much stamping his image on this team, even in just one game.
No doubt about it. I think we saw a different Raider football team out there tonight when we've seen in the last few years. And it's exciting for me to watch them play and to watch them win. I can't help but say, I've been a Raider for 10 years, and as they say, if you've been a Raider for 1, you're a Raider for the rest of your life, kind of. And it's hurt over the last several years to answer those phone calls. Of them negative over the last 2 or 3 years. And
it's got to hurt guys like you and Blitnikoff and Willie Brown that are around the organization. Jim Otto's and Morris Bradshaw's that are involved in the organization.
And once again, you can't make too much of it because it's the first preseason game of a new regime.
But you know what, Plunk? It feels a lot better than getting beat.
Oh, does it ever?
42-0.
Does it ever?
Mathis with a chance to return in special teams play again. Outstanding as Hall makes the stop at midfield.
Tim Hall, almost wasn't going to play tonight. Has had a good day running, good special teams effort today. All in all, a real fine effort by this entire Raider football team.
In fact, we had heard that Rodney Jordan was going to play a great deal tonight at the running back spot. He hasn't had a minute.
No, I know. Well, sometimes we get misinformation, but players, and John Gruden will be the first to tell you this. You go up to him before 3 or 4 hours before the game, and you say, well, how does it feel? Can you go tonight? And sometimes all a player needs is a couple hours or another day off of his feet. And this guy John Gruden, I think, has an outstanding feel for the tempo of the football team and the feel for the football team in terms of what he can get out of them.
And one thing I like about John Gruden is he goes up to the player and says, you got to step it up for me. I need you to play big for me. And he lets them know where they stand. And sometimes it's important to a player to let them know that if I play well, I can contribute to this football team, and I like that approach.
Ball right midfield for the Cowboys with 1 minute and 3 seconds remaining. Cowboys are out of timeouts. John Henry Mills was accused of a face mask violation. That's his second penalty, and I'm sure coaching staff will have a couple of things to say to him. Raiders now in the prevent defense. Still got a push on the Rocket. Now the Rocket throws, and it's knocked down nicely that time by Myron Smith. I think it's significant that the Raiders have not only played well, they've played well at least 2 and sometimes 3 deep.
Yeah, sometimes there's a big drop-off when the other units come in, but tonight, everybody, and I think part of it's the scheme. They're more disciplined, it appears. The scheme they're playing helps them be in the right place at the right time. They're aggressive, and they're enthusiastic, and they've got a lot of energy down there, and they're making things happen.
And conversely, the Cowboys have been very flat tonight. They have played 4 quarterbacks. They played 4 running backs. They played a host of wide receivers, 2 deep on the offensive line. Screen passes intended for Morgan falls incomplete.
I'd be flat too. You look at the Cowboys, they played last Friday night, then they scrimmaged the Raiders on Thursday, played the Raiders tonight. On Tuesday, they go to Shreveport, Louisiana to scrimmage the Saints, I think it is. And then they play a game on Friday night in Mexico City. So, Jerry Jones has got these guys hopping around a little bit. And, the other thing, I'm sure Chan Gailey's got some interesting opinions about this, but it's a carnival when you go to a Cowboy practice. They had 13,000 people on Sunday night at a practice. So, I think sometimes those are distractions.
Well, the Cowboys here in Dallas, for all intent, the only show in town, and that's with due respect, of course, to the basketball team and the baseball team. But Cowboys make news year-round.
They do, in a lot of different reasons.
Well, there's that. Had a little earlier this year, as a matter of fact.
In the dormitory.
In the dormitory. McIver, a guy who was supposed to play on the offensive line tonight, did not play. Everett McIver wound up with a puncture wound in his neck and then disappeared for 4 days. And I don't know how much the story got out nationally, but in the Dallas papers, it was very big news.
Start. Number 72 on the offense.
And
By rule, the penalty requires 10 seconds to be run off the game clock.
The biggest news, actually, to me, was that they were not cooperating with the police department in the investigation of what happened in the dormitory, and there was some inclination that perhaps guys like Michael Irvin might have been somehow, and I don't want to get into accusing Michael Irvin of anything because nobody has, but might have somehow been involved.
Well, one of the things Jerry Jones wants to do with this franchise is clean it up. Now, that's not an indication that it's getting cleaned up. In fact, I think that's why Gailey got the job. He's a clean-cut, sort of a nondescript guy. I mean, Jimmy Johnson and Barry Schweitzer almost became distractions because they became bigger than the team. And I didn't think Jerry Jones wanted that in his head coach.
That pass is complete down to the 30-yard line. Bjornsson on the receiving end. And with that, this one will come to a close with the Raiders winning it by a 16-3 score. And it was a game that really was much more lopsided than the scoreboard would indicate. Raiders had a couple of fourth down chances from inside the 1-yard line, opted to field goal. But by and large, Plunk, give me your reactions to this first game.
Well, I was very impressed with the way they played, the way they hustled, the schemes they used defensively. Offensively, they moved the ball. It's hard to find anything negative. But then again, we've got to prompt it with that. It's a preseason game, and that's all it is.
Well, Jim, I think you saw indications in camp, though. The tempo in camp was greater. I thought they ran more plays in camp. They executed better. But when you blitz like this, it creates energy. You feel good about yourself. You get a better attitude. You run to the ball more when you're blitzing. It's a style, I think, that just carries over into your entire defense.
And I think one thing in particular is that the stamp of the coach is very much on this football team, and I think that was apparent even in the first 30 minutes of this 20-game season. Well, a reminder that the Raiders host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's coming up on KCBS in Los Angeles and KJEO in Fresno. That's 6 o'clock Monday, August 4th, the Raiders and the Tampa Bay Bucks. You start looking for heroes tonight, and you can point to any one of about 15 or 20 people. And I think, again, that looks to the fact and speaks to the fact that the simple fact is this was an excellent team effort. You can't pick out one guy as saying, here was the guy that did it. That's a wrap for us. For my partners, Jim Plunkett and Artie Gigantino, I'm Barry Tompkins saying so long from Texas Stadium.